Hi guys, welcome back to the Chris Cowlin channel. This is the live watch along for the Tottenham Hotspur versus Leicester Premier League game with me, Barnaby Slater. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. What have I got to say about this game in advance? Gives me the heebie-jeebies, if I'm totally honest. Another team who you would assume will come and sit back at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's our second game of the week. Again, a Sunday after a Thursday Europa League game. I think it's fair to say our results in these games have not been great this season. And as we saw at the end of that game against Hoffenheim on Thursday, a lot of the players just out on their feet and more injuries today. Again, James Maddison does not make it even into the squad against his former team because Ange Postecoglou says that he is sore. So another blow to add to our injury woes. But anyway, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. And as the numbers of you joining us keep rising, really appreciate your support. Get involved. Get in the comment section, guys. Get your questions in. I will try and answer as many as I can throughout the day. And of course, if any of you send in any super chats, they will definitely be put on the screen as well. Make sure if you're not already that you're subscribed to Chris's channel. It's at Chris Cowlin. Of course, he is the Don of Tottenham Hotspur content, just spewing out so much content every single day. And in fact, Chris is at the game today and will be releasing videos on his channel throughout the afternoon, including the post-match press conferences. So make sure you keep an eye out across his channel. And straight after this, in fact, I'll give you the itinerary for today, just in case this is your first time coming across one of my watch-alongs on Chris's channel. I'll be doing the watch-along for the first half, then I'll be in the comments at halftime, and then straight after the game, I will do a post-match reaction video, after which we have the fan show, which is where Tottenham fans from across the world call in and speak to me about their thoughts on the game and the state of play with Tottenham at the moment, obviously currently sitting in 15th in the league. Can't believe I'm saying that. And of course, we have about a week, 8 days, in fact, left of the transfer window. So I dare say people will be giving me their thoughts on the window and what we need to bring in. Fabrizio Romano saying that we're looking to bring two more players in, a forward and a defender, before the 3rd of February, which is when the transfer window slams shut. And then after the fan show, from about 5 o'clock, from 5 o'clock exactly, actually, Chris Cowlin will be hosting the Spurs Chat podcast, where he'll be joined by Craig Dimon, Ricky Norwood, and Harry Scarf. So if you're a Spurs fan, you are covered for your content for the rest of the afternoon. Let's get going, though, with that team news. Kinski comes back in goal. And then the back four is the same. We don't really have many options. So Porro on the right, Gray on the left, and Dragushin and Ben Davis. And actually, I liked that on Thursday night. We did concede 2 goals, but I much prefer the balance that Ben Davis gives us with his left foot as the left-sided centre-back. Then in midfield, Bentancur carries on. And then he is alongside Pape Matar, who comes back in, and Lucas Bergvall. And then Deki Kulusevski, I'm sure, will play on the right with Richarlison up front in the 9 and Son Heung-min playing in the left-sided forward role. On the bench, Brandon Austin, Sergio Reguilon, Yves Bissouma is fit to come back on the bench. That's good news. Yang Min-hyuk comes back in because he was obviously ineligible for the Europa League game. Will Lancashire, Mikey Moore is on the bench, and then Ajay and Oluseyi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Only an 8-man bench for Spurs this afternoon, which shows that maybe it's a little bit of a mind game. Ange trying to show the board that we need men, but also I would say it shows slightly how Ange doesn't really fully believe in a lot of those academy players, because really he can fill that with any academy player he wants, but he's chosen not to. In terms of the Leicester team, Stolisic, Justin Christensen, Face, Westergaard is the defence. Then Harry Winks, welcome back to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Harry Winks. Samare, Decordova, Reed, El Kanous, Ayew, and Jamie Vardy. On the bench for them, Cody, Okoli, Mavadidi, Daka, Oliver Skip, welcome back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Koulibaly, Everson, McAteer, and Buonanotte, who, of course, Buonanotte is on Tottenham's list. A lot of talk this transfer window that Tottenham are interested in. Brighton's Buonanotte, but he is on loan at Leicester. I read this morning that actually he's on the bench because he had a bit of a falling out with Ruud van Nistelrooy, who, of course, is their manager, and they have lost 7 games in a row. Welcome to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I think you know what I'm saying, guys. So, some talking points before I get into the comment section, guys. Lucas Bergvall and Archie Gray, obviously, they were the two who really collapsed to the surface at the end of that Hoffenheim game just looked absolutely knackered. I guess the good news is they're so young that they should recover relatively quickly, but they are certainly playing many, many more games than you would expect, or they would have been expected to have played in their first seasons at the club. It is good news that Basuma and Reguilon can be on the bench to add a bit of senior depth to that bench. But for me, I think we need a really big game from Pat Matasar. He hasn't been in great form over the last few months, in my opinion. And the thing with Sarr, I love him in terms of his legs and his engine, and he does go and run the channels quite importantly. So he makes up another kind of forward player sometimes to push oppositions back. But technically in midfield, his touch and his kind of shorter to mid-range passing can leave a little bit to be desired. And I think with Sarr in a game like this, where, like I said earlier, you would expect Leicester to probably sit back, I want to see more, as much as possible, of Sarr breaking forward and trying to get in behind the line of Leicester, or at least push them back and make more runs into the channels, just as the team are coming out of the tunnel right now. I should say also, and I saw the Leicester team selection, I went and saw how the Leicester fans on social media were reacting to it, and there was a lot of unhappiness about that selection. A lot of them straight away saying, oh, that'll be 8 defeats in a row, then why has he picked that team? Well, I don't know, maybe I'm being a little bit too negative, but I fear that this will be a difficult game for Spurs to break Leicester down. And of course, we always concede. And my girlfriend laughs at me because, you know, she knows everything about Tottenham's tactical weaknesses, because she says I just say the same thing every week, but it's true, or every game, which is just we don't stop crosses from coming in and we don't mark the back post. So you will no doubt see Leicester trying to get many crosses in and getting players forward to the back stick to try and score. Of course, Jamie Vardy as well always scores against us. And this will be another opportunity for Richarlison again. Obviously had his first start for a long time in the Hoffenheim game and only really managed about 55, 60, 65 minutes, something like that before he came off. I imagine it'll be similar here. We definitely cannot afford Richarlison to get injured again, because obviously Solanke is out until March. So we need a big game from Richarlison. I think if we could get him a goal, get his confidence up, that would be amazing. And then in terms of the almost script-like need to say, who can we not afford to get injured? Well, I said Richarlison, and I would say Bentancur and Deki Kulusevski as well. Kulusevski and Sonny having to play yet another full game probably for Tottenham Hotspur. So let's get into the comments, guys. Lane Onto says, try Yang today. Well, Yang hasn't had any minutes off the bench yet, has he? And Ange did say before, or when he was arriving at the club at the beginning of January, or towards the end of December anyway, that it would take time. So, you know, we're not going to see him unless he's ready, that's for sure. But again, Lane, thank you so much for your comment. Really appreciate it. Dino Payne says, when is Bentancur serving his ban? What's up there? I don't know much about that. Has he got a ban? I think it's already been served, hasn't it? He served his ban for five yellows as far as I'm concerned. Daryl says, no attacking threat in midfield. I like Bergvall. I think he's quite an attacking threat. And like I said, I think Sarr will be, you know, he'll be asked to try and stretch the lines a little bit. G Moore, gutted Spence is out. I'd like pace for a game like this where he can attack and be needed for pace to take out Vardy. Yeah. Jed Spence, a bit sore. They're hoping he'll be back next week. But he's been brilliant since he's come in. But yet another injury, of course. Thank you, G, for writing in. Appreciate that. Randin says, hopefully Richarlison produces a good appearance today. He was okay against Hoffenheim, but he should bag goals. Yep, should. I don't know about the word should, but I would love him to, that's for sure. But yeah, the game not far from kicking up. Yeah, Phil C says this, if we're 5-0 up, Yang may get a few minutes. Yeah, you're probably right, mate. You're probably right. Rich Chandler, thanks for writing in, says, give Rishi 60 minutes, then bring more on left and Son up the middle. Looks like, yes, a lot of the Spurs legends are out on the sidelines. Pat Jennings is there. Gary Mabbott, Ledley King, because an ex-Spurs player died. David Howells is there. Chris Houghton, I think, is there. Dave Bowerman says, Son's goals are back and I expect him to strike today. I hope so. He scored a hat-trick, didn't he, in this game last season or the season before. John Lancaster. Oh, sorry. Oh, wrong one. John Lancaster. Are you wearing the lucky shirt? I am. I'm wearing the lucky shirt. Don't worry, but it's cold. And if things start going wrong, I'll take off the fleece, but it's cold. But I've got to have the fleece on at the moment. But I've chosen a fleece that has navy and white colorings. So appreciate that. Anders Helgeson, which team do you think is the worst in the Premier League this season? It was Gary Brooke, of course, who died, by the way. Rest in peace, Gary Brooke. Well, the worst team in the Premier League at the moment are cut adrift, aren't they? Absolutely cut adrift at the bottom of the league. So there are like 3 teams in the Premier League who are pretty bad, but as the fans get behind Spurs, but it's Southampton, obviously, who are cut adrift. Jordan Hussein says, what are your thoughts if we don't win, Barnaby? Love your views, composed and logical. I appreciate that, Jordan. Thank you very much. Yes, well, I said towards the beginning of the week, I feared for Ange if we didn't beat Hoffenheim and we didn't beat Leicester. So I think there's a lot of pressure on a result here. I really do. We've got Brentford away in the league next week. Spurs kicking from right to left in the first half. I'll probably be on a bit of delay, so I won't get too much into the comments until half time, guys. But Davey says, in terms of, came on for Ricky Villa in the first game of the 81 final to Gary Brooke. Rest in peace, Gary, absolutely. 1,000 of you watching so far, guys, as the game has kicked off. Thank you so much for your support. Press that like button. Let's get as many likes as we can. Ben Davies gets an early touch on the ball and goes direct over the top towards Sonny, who is beaten in the air. And Leicester try and whack the ball out long. Looks like Leicester trying to play kind of quite a genuine 2 up front, actually. Quite central early on. And Davis gets on the ball again and plays it out wide to Son, whose touch is good. Plays it inside to Bentancur, but he's beaten to the ball. And Leicester have it now back in their back line. They're trying to pop it about a little bit. Everything I've heard about Leicester since Van Nistelrooy came in has told me that they do try and pop it up and play some football. But then they tried to go direct straight away after that. That'll be a Spurs throw, and it is. Bentancur going into a good 50-50 there. Ange on the sidelines in his trusty big warm coat. Throwing comes down the line. Richarlison beaten to it by Feis. Wout Feis. Is it Feis or Face? I never really know. Archie Gray starting in that left-back role and gives away a free kick. But referees, I just think sometimes just give free kicks, especially on the side touchlines and around the byline. They give free kicks so easily. And a lot of the times just players absolutely pull the wool over referees' eyes. Anyway, first minute gone. Not a lot going on in this first minute, it's fair to say. As Leicester get it out wide left. Try and play it in narrow, but it's a poor ball. Bentancur picks it up. Oh, and Sarr is just exactly what I was saying at the beginning of this. Sarr's short passing is terrible, and they're in down the right-hand side now, Leicester. Archie Gray got his body in the way well there. Sarr just tried to give a pass backwards and just passed it straight to the Leicester player. Very poor from him. And then he's just nicked in ahead on the sidelines and slips over. That's given Leicester a bit of confidence. They're just getting on the ball here down the right-hand side. Bring it back towards their back four. And now they've got room down the left. And like I said, they will see that Tottenham are often very weak down the right-hand side, their left-hand side, and especially do not kind of protect corners. That's a good ball there. And Spurs are in down the right. Beautiful. I don't know who passed it to Richarlison, but he flicked it around the corner to Decky. And now Decky's driving down the right-hand side, getting towards the box and the byline, tries a cutback, but Winks clears, but goes only to Bergvall, and he lays it across to Archie Gray. And he has Son outside him. James Justin pressing him, so he gives it to Sarr, who turns on it, brings it back to Archie Gray. Son, and Archie Gray making a run outside him, which is good, but Son comes narrow and gives it to Sarr. And Leicester have all their bodies behind the ball now as it comes to Dragishin, who goes wide to Porro, who's played so many minutes. Porro trying an early cross. It's on the ground. It's easily cleared. And now Winksy. Good ball from Winksy, and that's a foul from Sarr midfield, but the ref plays play on. Leicester trying to hit us on the break. And I have to say, the midfield of Sarr and Bergvall and Kulusevski are not running very hard to get back there, but Leicester not confident to go forward, so bring it back. Bergvall now putting the press on. Leicester just popping it about to James Justin on the right. He plays a good ball into midfield and gets it back. Spurs looking tired already, if that's possible. Dearie me. Just jogging about, I'm afraid, Spurs, when they haven't got the ball at the moment. letting Leicester just play it around us. But maybe that's the way we're going to play today. It's just on the transition to try and conserve some legs, as we have been a few times in the last few weeks. Oh my God, too easy. And Leicester are down in the left. And they've got a man at the back. A man is totally free on the back post, but he can't get it down. It's Ayew. And as a result, it goes off for a goal kick. But that's what I said, isn't it? They get into a position, poor defending, and then out wide, there's just nobody marking the back post at all. Archie Gray comes in narrow. But anyway, Sonny's just won a foul on the halfway line there off James Justin. Spurs going for the long one over towards Richarlison. He's done well, Rishi. And actually, the keeper came out. Rishi used his body really well. So it was a kind of mid-range ball over the top. And who's it from? Porro. Richarlison gets in between the two centre-halves. And then he uses his body to knock off the centre-back. And he just nearly got a touch, but the keeper came at his feet. Nearly a big chance for Rishi. Spurs have it down the left-hand side now with Archie Gray trying to turn his man. He does well and he's fouled. Justin again. So that's interesting. James Justin has given away a couple of early fouls here. This one on Archie Gray, and the ref's having a word with him because those two fouls alone could really have been a booking. And I think it's only the fact that it's, early in the game that has saved him really. Okay, so I'm just under a minute delayed, guys. I'm just under a minute delayed, I think. Sonny is going to whip this free kick in. It's about level with it's about level with the penalty spot almost. Sarr is not paying attention. Sarr could get a short one from Sonny here. He's just on the edge of the box, but he's not really paying attention. Spurs look like they're going to try and whip this one in towards the keeper. 1,500 of you watching at the moment, guys. Thank you so much for your support. Make sure you press that like button. Here comes the free kick. It's quite deep, and the keeper has to come out and get a touch on it and get it away. Bentancur now chasing. He gets a foot on it and does well. That's a Leicester throw. Leicester with the longest throw down, but it's cleared by Dragusin. Decky does well, gives it to Bentancur. Oh, who's tackled on the ball. It's very tight here by the sideline. Oh, Decky, beautiful to Bentancur. But then his pass is picked up by Ayew, who's driving at Spurs' defence now, driving into the box, and Spurs actually do well to get bodies around it. And then Bentancur gives it away again, and Leicester have a chance here. And now it comes to James Justin. He's going to get a cross in. No. And this is where the crosses come from usually. It's deep, but actually Son put pressure on him. But it's a free cross. And it nearly fell for Vardy, but it didn't. Spurs trying to bring it out with Decky. He doesn't have the pace to get out of this situation, so he needs help. And he's now right back in his corner flag, which is a situation Spurs get themselves in so regularly, don't they? Anyway, a couple of big-headed clearances from both teams, and it comes back to Leicester in the back line. 8 minutes gone now. Bitty start to this game. Not a surprise, really, when you think about Spurs having only arrived back from Europa League at 3 a.m. on Friday morning. Leicester have most of the possession in this game at the moment, I'd say. Price now tries the big old diagonal. Oh, and Decordiva Reed nearly got it down, but he didn't quite. And Porro will let that go out, I think, he nearly let it out for a goal kick, but he didn't. In the end, he kept it and then plays a bad pass. And Spurs' passing so far has been very poor. They're in here, Leicester, down the left nearly. Not quite. But they're going to get a chance to cross it. Here it comes. But Bentancur gets there first. He's very good at reading the game, Bentancur. But Spurs pretty deep at the moment. And Bentancur, having cleared it, was the one to then go and press all the way, Leicester, all the way up to their goalkeeper. Kind of show, I think, there, Bentancur, his fellow players, how important that is. But the keeper's just played a really good ball, actually, all the way out to their wide man. And they're in down the left here, Leicester. They're in down the left. This is a real chance. It's 3-on-3 here. Cuts it back to the edge of the box. Big chance. And his shot, Ayew, where he shouldn't really have taken a shot. He had so much time, was blocked. And then a deflected long shot. Just made a note there. Spurs looking tired and leggy and everything. And, oh, I'll tell you what. Feist has just given a horrible ball to his keeper. Richarlison fancied it, but didn't get there. But they're saying the comment, oh, terrible ball again from Sarr. And Leicester are in again. They're looking to find Vardy down the side, but Dragusin does well. Son, good first touch. Oh, I thought it was a good touch from Son, but it just got away from him. And a couple of 50-50s. Few heavy touches in midfield from both teams. Bentancur does well there for Spurs. Yeah, the commentator's talking about how Leicester will be emboldened by the start. Well, I don't think it'll be a huge surprise, really, because they've had a week's break. Spurs haven't. In fact, Spurs have probably played twice since Leicester have played. And so they know they're going to have the legs on us, and they know that we're going to struggle to do much running. Kulusevski now. Sounds like it's a pretty nervy atmosphere at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Dragusin plays it inside. Good little flick on to Bentancur, who finds Sonny. Oh, he was tempted to have a first-time shot there, Son, but he didn't. Can't find a pass forward. Has to go to Bentancur, but Sarr is in down the left here. Archie Gray tries to find Sarr, but he brings it straight back onto his right again and goes back to Gray. And Gray is going to try the cross into the near post. Feist clears it. Sarr gets a touch on. Might be a chance. Yeah, he has a shot here, Sarr, but it's easily straight down the keeper's throat. Has to go long with the kick. Ben Davis wins it and gets it straight to Archie Gray. Great stuff from Ben Davis, sorry. Gray now driving down the left, and he looks to find Son. Feist deals with it and kicks it down the line. Sarr does well in the air there, wins it. The ref has a head injury for the Leicester player here, so that's just been stopped for a second. So the game has stopped, so I'll go into the comments a little bit. Want Tonight says, Sarr was so promising. What happened? Well, he's just not in great form, mate. That's it. It's quite simple. Bentancur, Gardy says, Bentancur would not normally naturally have the most legs. He's hardly featured over the course of 5 to 10 games in a row over the course of the season as a starter. He has to watch his passing, gives too much away. I think his passing's all right. He doesn't give as much away as Sarr. Anyway, the game is kicked back off now. Bentancur finds Dragusin. Ben Davis driving with the ball a little bit. He hasn't got many options there, Ben Davis. Goes down the line, but it's gone off the throw. Sarr comes to get the throw from Sonny. He's looking for a gap. He gets it to Archie Gray. He gets a cross in. Oh, it's come all the way through. Bergvall does well, Bergvall. Chance shot. Porro. Oh, well saved. Great shot from Porro. Comes to Son. On the left. Tries the cross, but it's cleared. Bergvall was actually on the floor. Managed from on the floor get the pass to Porro. Spurs have the ball. Decky tries the big diag, and it's a beautiful ball to Sonny. Doesn't even have to move. Now he's driving at the fullback. Gets a cross in, but it's in the keeper's arms. So Archie Gray's cutback was actually brilliant. It came to Bergwall in the end, who had to battle on the floor and then lays it back to Porro, who puts his laces on it. It's heading towards the kind of middle right-hand corner, and the keeper's in a good position to just parry it away. Yeah, it's a bit central, his shot, actually, Porro, in the end. That's a shame, but that's the best Spurs have been in this opening 14 minutes or so. Now, Leicester very easily managed to get the ball through into the final third, and Justin's on the right. He's going to get a cross in. It's not stopped. Actually, Ben Davies ends up clearing it over his own bar. It's just not a good connection. Kinski seems comfortable with it. It's a corner. Yeah, Kinski in the end actually had to flick that over his own bar. So it's going to be the first corner for Leicester. Kinski pushing Richarlison around, telling him where he wants him to be. It's going to be Ayew taking this one. We just crossed the 15-minute mark. Not a lot of energy on this pitch at the moment, to say the very, very least. Vestergaard is a big old guy. Dragishin's near him. It's going to be an outswing. In fact, they go short to the edge of the box. And they get the cross in. And Rishi does well to clear it. Comes to Winksy. Winksy does well to beat the Bentancur press. And now comes back onto his right foot to Feist. Feist, oh, tell you what, Leicester got a bit lucky there with a dodgy pass. But now they have it down the left-hand side with Decordiva Reed. And Archie Gray does brilliantly. Blocks it and keeps it. And then clears it down the line. And it goes off for a Spurs throw. Archie Gray, brilliant. He's a very intelligent footballer, Archie Gray. He's at left back today. The commentator's just saying how he plays left back, right back, centre back, anywhere except his actual position, central midfield. Kulusevski knocked off the ball quite simply there. Sarr now in midfield. Wins a free kick. Got his body in just about the right place. Once again, guys, make sure you are subscribed to Chris's channel if you're not already, at Chris Cowlin, and you'll see there in the bottom left-hand corner my YouTube channel. I bring you daily Tottenham Hotspur transfer news and transfer news from across the Premier League during January. Give me a subscribe at Barnaby Slater _. I'm nearly at 15,000 subscribers. Good ball down the line to Bergwall there, whose touch is good. Gets it down. And he's looking to do a big crossfield ball himself. And again, it's beautiful to Son. Cuts inside Sonny. Looking to cut inside more. Could have got a foul there. Has a shot. Oh, it's just wide. That was trademark Son. I think the keeper's tipped it wide. It's a beautiful ball from Bergwall. He beats the first man, beats the second man, and then takes his shot. That is a brilliant save. Wow. Wow. Corner. Here comes the corner. It's an outswinger. It's easily cleared by Leicester. Coming to Sarr. He's got to get a good touch on this. He does. He goes backwards to Kinski, who has Archie Gray with him and gives it straight to him. That was Tottenham's best effort so far from Son. It was absolutely trademark. Beautiful crossfield ball from Bergwall. And then Sonny, confident after his 2 goals against Hoffenheim, cut inside one man, cut inside the next man, and then just got a beautiful shot into the far left-hand corner. And the keeper had absolutely full stretch. In fact, I've rarely seen many keepers save those from Son. Managed to tip it wide. Kulusevski does keep the ball there, but it was tight. He looks tired already, Decky, but I'm sure he'll be all right. Ben Davies now gets out wide to Son. His first touch is good. Oh, his pass wasn't great, but Archie Gray saves him there and plays a great ball to Sarr. He cuts back narrow. Sarr trying to make the most of space. He slipped over, though, there, Sarr, and then handballs it, which he shouldn't have done. I'm surprised he doesn't get booked here, to be honest. Yeah, he slipped over. Sarr slipped a few times this time. His balance isn't very good at the moment. It's not had the best start, Sar. But realistically, sorry, with Maddison's injuries, not that many options. I guess he could have started Mikey Moore. Bissouma is on the bench, but the ball just flicked on there. But Kinski does well to come and claim it. Throws it straight out to Porro, who goes inside to Bergvall, takes a touch, goes back to Porro. Porro does well there, and Kulusevski lays it across to Ben Davis. Looking for options, goes across to Dragishin, to Porro. And he's going to try a ball. Oh, I'll tell you what, for some reason the Leicester players left it, and then Richarlison was in, but the offside flag did go off, did go up. See what happens here. Porro kind of plays a surprise ball. Well, co-commentator saying Richarlison was well offside. I think it wasn't so far offside as to put the flag up, to be honest. But anyway, it probably was just off, so it doesn't really matter. 20 minutes gone. Spurs trying to put the press on Leicester. Oh, and Bentancur's touch has just put Vardy in, but Dragishin's with him. It's a good ball from Vardy inside. And Decor Dover Reed nearly got in, but again, great defending, this time from Porro. Leicester now coming towards the Spurs box again on the left-hand side. And here comes Samari. I thought was going to put the cross in, but he doesn't. He comes narrow again. Oh, and it's a good ball out to Justin, who cuts inside and has a dig. And that's saved easily by Kinski. Ben Davis goes across to Dragishin. He goes first time to Kulusevski. He's got Bergvall near him, but he plays a good ball to Bentancur. He's got a bit of space here, and he dinks it over the top to Son. Gets it down. And he's got Archie Gray making a run outside him, Son. And he goes to him. This is good. Archie Gray fronted up by Justin. He gets an early cross in Gray, but Richarlison just didn't think Gray was going to try and get that cross in. And actually, it was a good cross, but Richarlison had basically already turned his back, thinking the ball wasn't going to come into him. And as a result, it went straight through to their keeper. That's something for Richarlison to keep an eye on there. Gray's got a good cross on him, bringing it back onto his right foot from the left-hand side. And Richarlison needs to be ready for that. That's good stuff from Leicester getting out of the press here, although a bad pass. And then a ball kicked away in central midfield, but Spurs with throw. Give it to Kulusevski, no. Commentators talking about how Leicester trying to play out from the back. They're hoping to get a script written so that Leicester make them, or so they can say they knew it was going to happen if Leicester make a mistake doing that. Good ball then. Ben Davis now coming forward with the ball. He goes with his right foot out to Sonny, and then Davis continued his run, but Archie Gray was already making a move there. So it comes back to Bentancur, who's got Bergvall outside him, takes it on the half turn, comes back again, gives it to Ben Davis. Comes out wide to Archie Gray, who has Son outside him. Son is pressed by two players now, and he's fouled, not for the first time. "23 minutes gone. Tottenham 0, Leicester 0. Bit of a bitty game. You wouldn't say one team were really in the ascendancy over the other at the moment. Spurs have had the best effort with Son Heung-min absolutely trademark, getting a shot away that the keeper did brilliantly to tip round the post. Kulusevski trying a big old paradise crossfield ball there. Didn't get anywhere near a Spurs player. And now there's a bit of head tennis in central midfield. Bentancur wins the first one there. But Leicester now winning it. Sarr wins one. And Winksy's able to bring it down. And so Leicester have it now on the left-hand side. And again, Leicester getting it down. Oh, but they play a bad ball, and Spurs have a bit of a chance on a half transition here. Kulusevski on the right, but no one's near him. So it's so easy for him to be pressed. And Kulusevski, again, tries to do something that he shouldn't try and do. And now Leicester on the transition. He tried to beat a man with a nutmeg. Sarr does well then, but it still gets to Leicester out the left-hand side. But then a poor bit of play. This is two teams both playing quite poorly at the moment, I have to say. Bentancur gets himself in trouble here. Back in his own corner flag again. Spurs happens all the time. That's a Leicester throw. I've never seen a team allow themselves to get kind of with their front. They're facing their own goalkeeper in the corner flags as much as Spurs do. Like it's like they're happy to go down that blind alley, and they're always being pressed by the opposition. Very rarely works out for us. Oof, got a bit of a dodgy feeling about this. If Leicester take the lead, it's going to get very, very grotty at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, atmosphere-wise. Just had some people texting me from a Spurs fan group saying this is a big game for Ange. Cross comes in from the left. Dragoshin had to get something on that because Vardy was free just behind him. Sarr helps with the clearance. Richarlison heads it straight back to Justin. And Dragoshin just kicks the ball out for a throw-in. He doesn't love it on the ball, Dragoshin, to say the least. Never looks that comfortable. Anyway, Leicester do it quickly, and they're out down the left-hand side again. Here is Porro. Porro, the cleverest man of all of our men who've been stuck in our own corner flag. It was just to stop, feel the contact, go down, and you will always win the free kick. Fullbacks will always get those free kicks, and it happens against Spurs enough, so we should basically do the same. 25 minutes gone now. Still Spurs 0, Leicester 0 in this 90 minutes to see how tired Spurs can possibly be. On the bench, Vicario and Maddison and Odobert alongside Basuma, Spence, a few others. Spurs lose the ball in midfield again. Porro takes a good touch to get it down, though, and then plays it down the line to Kulusevski, who wins a foul cleverly. That's better there from Decky, because he's always being pressed hard and he's got no one around him. So if you can win the foul, then at least we're going to keep the ball. Decky takes the free kick. Oh, my God. And then the ref stops it because it's a slightly rolling ball. Yeah, but who cares, ref? You're an idiot. He's like, oh, I had to. No, you don't have to. Porro tries the big diag to Son. It's a stupid ball because Justin's always going to win it. Archie Gray wins the second one but can't find anyone. But Son finds Archie Gray now. And Archie Gray driving towards the left, but he's beaten by Harry Winks. Plays it easily down the line. Sarr gets a foot in on Ayew. This is such a scrappy game at the moment. Like I said, two very poor teams. But Vardy running the channel here and gets it ahead of Dragoshin and goes towards the byline. Tries to get a cross in, but it's easily straight into Kinski's arms. Unfortunately, we've got no real pace on the pitch at the moment, so Kinski doesn't have an option of kicking it flat and long over the top of Leicester's line, defensive line. So it's just a throw out, and once again, we're playing it behind amongst our back four. Davis plays a good ball into Bentancur, though. Nearly loses it, but doesn't quite. Turns away. Finds Porro, who goes first time to Kulusevski, who had Bergvall running outside him. But Leicester are kind of checking all of Tottenham's runs at the moment. You can really tell that they've had a lot more time to work on this game than Spurs have, and a lot more energy in their legs. Son now back to goal, having to hold that up, and he looks frustrated. But Spurs keep the ball, and Dragoshin finds it round the corner to Decky, whose first touch has to take him again towards his own goal. And this is what's happening a lot with Spurs at the moment. Playing it into the forward line, but then having to come straight back towards their own goal again. Davis now to Dragoshin, gives it to Porro, who again has Kulusevski outside him. And he tries a big old diag towards Sarr, actually. And the keeper had to come a long way. That was better. That was us trying something differently there. Sarr making a break forward. And the ball from Kulusevski nearly found him. And if the keeper hadn't had a good starting position, Sarr might have been in there. Actually, I did wonder whether Sarr, because the ball bounced up, whether he could try to just get a little toe on it. And the keeper probably would have taken him out and got sent off. "28 minutes gone." Oh, it looks like it was offside anyway. The keeper goes long. Oh, and it's flicked on, and Vardy gets in behind briefly. Has to take a touch on it. And that's offside from Ayew. Fans looking very quiet indeed at the Tottenham Stadium, just kind of hoping something's going to happen. But without Maddison on the pitch, we're lacking a bit of creativity. I guess that's no surprise. Davis has to go back to Kinski. Comes across to Dragoshin, and that's where Leicester will look to press. Gives it into Porro, gives it into Bentancur. He plays a beautiful... This is good football. First touch from Bergvall kind of slows it down a little bit, but that was beautiful one-touch stuff through from the back line, through midfield from Spurs. Now it comes to Son. But he has to go backwards to Ben Davis again. Dragoshin to Davis. To Bergvall, who's looking to get on the ball more in the last couple of minutes, which I like, to Archie Gray. Cuts inside. Goes back to Bentancur. Goes across to Dragoshin, who goes out to Deki Kulusevski. And Porro had made a run, but Deki didn't try it. And actually, Deki's driven and beaten a man there and then tries to find Richarlison. It's a poor pass. But Deki wins a foul, and he's getting fouled quite a lot, Deki, here. And the ref, that's good refereeing, to be fair, brings it back when many refs wouldn't. And he's asking for both players to come back. Kulusevski is driving his man a lot. He's getting fouled a lot by Christensen. Yeah, he was pulling him back there. Half an hour gone. Tottenham 0, Leicester 0. And this is a free kick for Spurs. Porro is on it. Looks like Tottenham are going to try and get this into the box. Leicester have quite a high line defending it. They're defending it on about the 20 yards, around 21 yards out. It's going to be an in-swinger. Porro, one arm up. Here it comes. Oh, it's too much air on that. Straight to the keeper. Deary me. But Richarlison challenges him and the ref lets it go. So it comes to Son outside the box. He's got Bergvall outside him. And then Son hits the bar. I think the keeper's just tipped that onto the bar because it was a cross that just went to the far post. Another cross for Spurs. This is better from Porro. Chance of the back stick. Oh, and then the Leicester player gets something on it. Otherwise, it was coming to Son. I think the keeper might be having one of his greatest games here. Bentancur. We could do with a little bit of luck like that. A cross-comes shot going in or something. Anyway, Davis to Sarr, who goes back to Dragoshin. And he'll come across again to Ben Davis. Leicester defending in a genuine old-school 4-4-2 here. But Spurs win the second ball. And Deki again driving at Christensen, who's all over him. He plays it inside to Sarr, who has to come backwards. Or sideways again to Porro, who's going to try another cross. Chance for Spurs. Richarlison, goal! Rishi! And that's why you get crosses in when you've got a player like Richarlison on the pitch. Good lads. Great cross from Porro. Let's hope that Richarlison stayed onside. I feel almost sorry for Dom Solanke because we don't get enough crosses in when he's on the pitch. Anyway, Spurs with Kulusevski. Again, up against Christensen. He gave it to Sarr, who turned out the other way and goes back to Porro on the right-hand side. And Porro, he's miles onside Richarlison. And he really wrestled with, I think it's Feist, and got ahead of him. Heads it into the bottom left-hand corner. Amazing stuff from Porro. And that's what Spurs needed. And actually what we really need is the second one. And Richarlison collides with the post afterwards, but he's fine. And I said it before the game. I said it in my opening. What we could really do with here is Richarlison staying fit, number one, but also getting a goal here. Getting an important goal for Spurs. Get his confidence up. And let's make him some more chances. Good stuff, Tottenham. Well done. 1-0. Sarr wins a header there. Gets it to Son, who turns. Oh, and does well down the left there, Son, but is a little bit of a heavy touch. And ironically there, I think Leicester have conceded a goal, suffering the same way that Spurs usually do. They did not block the cross at source, and Richarlison made his way towards the back post, wrestling with his centre-halves. proving himself stronger. He wanted it more. Nodding it in. Beautiful stuff. Now Bergvall's got a little bit of a pump up of energy, so he goes and presses the keeper. And Spurs are getting a little bit of a press on here for the first time in a while. The keeper plays a big, long diagonal out to Christensen. It's good. And Kulusevski now up against Christensen, gets a foot in, does well. Slows his process. His progress even. Apologies. Anyway, Justin now with Leicester. They've got 2 against 2 here down the right-hand side. Goes to Ayew, comes back. And now Leicester will have a free cross. No, he plays a good ball into the box. James Justin, good chance. And that, I think, was deflected wide. But maybe they're only giving a goal kick. That was a good chance in the box for Justin. Winksy found him with a beautiful ball. Yeah, it's deflected wide. Great defending from Ben Davis. And it is a corner. It's going to be an in-swinger. 35 minutes gone. Tottenham 1, Leicester 0. Leicester getting a few more players around Kinski for this one. Here it comes. Oh, and tell you what, Kinski was coming for it, but Rishi, well, he says he didn't hear him. So he got in front of him and he clears it out for another corner. I mean, I guess they dealt with it in the end. Kinski was going to punch it anyway, so probably would have been a corner either way. And in the end, Kinski nearly punches Richarlison's head. So it's another one, another in-swinger. Again, on the keeper's head. And it's a great punch from Kinski. Comes back out to Winks. He's going to try and dink it up to the far stick. Oh, it's a good cross. No. And it came to the back post. No one was there for Spurs. But in the end, it wasn't a good touch from Leicester. And Kulusevski holds it up well there. And Spurs get a throw in. Richarlison, actually, they're just showing the goal again. He got a last-minute push in the back that could easily have put him off. But he was brave, and he finished it well. Anyway, Leicester on the ball here, and they've got 4 Spurs players around them, but Samari keeps it well and goes back to their back 4. Winksy is doing well here in central midfield for Leicester, enjoying it back at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Winksy, of course, got so much abuse from Spurs fans, but he's always been a good player. And here he goes with the first-time cross towards the back stick. And there it is, free control for Leicester with Decordova Reed, but Porro managed to get his body back towards it. But that's what Winksy was trying. The ball rolled back to him, so he's like, first-time cross to the back post. You know Spurs aren't going to be there. Here comes Christensen. Goes back. Oh, and it's a good crossfield ball from Leicester to Decordova Reed. And he finds another ball down the line, but Bentancur with a great slide tackle. Brave. Not sure he did brilliantly, but it was a brave one. But then Decky has just given it away, and Leicester are at our box again. Big shot coming in, deflected over the bar. Decky looks tired. Yeah, the crowd's getting frustrated because Decky Kulusevski unable to hold the ball up again. And as a result, Leicester came straight back at us. And there's just no need, especially when you're 1-0 up. I know it's the old game management thing again, but when you're 1-0 up, there's really no need whatsoever to just allow easy turnovers for Leicester to come straight back at us. They should be having to come and get the ball off us. But anyway, Bentancur just found himself on the floor there, as the Leicester player pushed him into Kinski. He went down. Referees just have no control over these corner situations, do they, whatsoever? But it's Bentancur on Samare because Samare's trying to block off the keeper, basically. That's what's happening. Here it comes onto the keeper's head again. Oh, I'll tell you what, and that was similar to the Arsenal one. That came all the way over to the back stick. And Kinski wasn't there. And Feist had a free header over the bar. He did have men around him, and it was quite high. Feist had to get up really high to get there, so it was, you know, it kind of hit the top of his head in the end. But that's one they've obviously pinpointed on Kinski, the one that kind of just goes just over his head, and they're trying to block him from being able to get a run on it, to get a punch on it. And Bergvall looks a little bit dazed. He's on the floor. He obviously got a little bit of a knock in the head there. Yeah, so Ben Davies was near Feist. And actually, yeah, so Feist ends up heading the back of Bergvall. Bergvall pretty good in the air. I know he missed a really golden chance for Spurs in the air the other day, but he's actually, for his height, he rises for the ball really well. Kinski plays a long ball up to Rishi, who nearly got a flick on there, but Feist gets it off for a throw-in. And Kinski gets a thumbs up from Ange there for trying something flat and different up to Rishi's head. Archie Gray with the throw in the 40th minute now. Tottenham 1, Leicester 0. Gray goes down the line to Rishi, who can't hold it. Winks does well with his body there. And tried to play a good ball, and Bentancur did well to see it. And he gets it to Archie Gray. It goes to Son, and Son wins a throw-in off Justin. It's another throw for Spurs. Gray on it. Richarlison's an option there. He goes to Richarlison when he was under the most pressure. I thought he had a better option earlier, to be honest, but it's a bit bitty here. And Leicester clear it down the line. Davies gets it to Bentancur. His touch is brilliant. Up to Richarlison, who holds it up and is fouled. That was good from Bentancur and Richarlison. Free kick taken by Bentancur. Goes back to Ben Davies, who comes across to Radu Dragusin, who turns on it because he's pressed by Vardy and goes back to Kinski. Puts his foot on it and goes early to Ben Davies, who turns and gets out wide to Son, who his touch is quite heavy, but he goes back to Gray. And Gray, unfortunately, his ball is blocked by Justin, and Leicester therefore are in down the right-hand side. It's a good back heel, but Sarr got his body in the way there well. Finds Son, who then kicks it straight to Ayew, but Sarr gets his body in again, and that's a foul on Ayew. But Spurs have got the ball. Play on, ref. Oh, the ref has called it back when Spurs were on a transition. And he puts his hand up and apologises. Pretty loose, yeah. The pretty loose tackle from Ayew. But anyway, Spurs have started up. Dragusin with a good straight ball down the middle, and Porro's in a great position here. No one's with him. So he has a dig at the near post. Yeah, I don't mind that, because no one was quite up with him, and it just hit the side netting. And actually, that was a great ball from Dragusin over the top. No, it was just something a bit different from Spurs there, and I don't mind it. The long straight ball from Dragusin, and Porro had made a really good run. And it just kind of no one else was expecting it either, because no one was up with Porro. Kinski's just put Dragusin under a bit of pressure here. Oh, and then he's fouled from behind completely ridiculously by Vardy. It's Vardy's classic way of trying to get involved in the game. Kinski to Davies. He has to go back to Kinski because he was pressed. And Kinski shaped to play a longer ball, but then just knocks it off to Dragusin, and he plays another kind of long raking ball, but this one just falls straight at Justin's feet. And he goes back to his keeper, who Richarlison presses. And then he goes for the big diag. Won well, though, by Porro. And Spurs win a throw-in on the halfway line. Don't forget, guys, at halftime, I'll be doing a little rundown of what happened in that first half, and then I'll get into the comments. So any questions you have, do get in the comments as Bentancur tries to chip it over the fullback. Oh, and a bit of a dodgy pass back that Richarlison, if he was quicker, would have seen. Davis into Bentancur. Good touch from Bentancur. He's being pressed. And then nearly loses it, but goes back to Porro, who goes to Kinski. We're in the 45th minute now. So we'll see in a second how much added time there is. Ben Davis goes inside to Archie Graves. Got to be careful here because there are Leicester men about, but goes well to Davis, who goes back to Kinski. Who comes to Ben Davis again. Leicester putting a bit of a press on here. So Davis goes long into the channel towards Son. And that's just off for a throw. And Justin easily had Sonny sorted out there. Leicester go back to their keeper, who plays a really good first-time ball to Christensen. Can he keep that on? He does. But in keeping it on, Pedro Porro steals in. This is a good opportunity for Spurs. He's got Kulusevski outside him, tries the early cross, and it's blocked. Comes to Bergvall, who goes to Decky now. He surely will bring this on his left. No, I thought he'd bring it on his left to get a cross in. He might do now. No, he doesn't. He keeps it and goes to Son, who's with him. He goes outside him to Porro. And they're just trying to move Leicester around. There's only one added minute. That kind of sums up the first half, really. Not a lot has gone on. Just that one goal for Spurs. We're back out wide right now. Leicester back into their 4-4-2 defending shape. Comes to Ben Davis, who turns away and goes back to Kinski. With only 30 seconds left here. Everyone wondering if it'll go to half-time with nothing else happening. Kinski found Bentancur, went straight back to Kinski, who's now come to Ben Davis. He tries a dink in towards the channel where Kulusevski was. And the ref got involved accidentally there. Five seconds left. The ref giving Leicester the ball because he accidentally got in the way of a pass. And he gives it to the keeper. And that's half-time. Okay, so at half-time, it is Tottenham Hotspur 1, Leicester 0. I mean, it wouldn't be the most surprising thing to hear after yet another Thursday night game, after which Tottenham came home late, that it's been a very scrappy game. Not a lot going on. Leicester having a fair bit of possession that wouldn't be happening if this was a kind of early season game where Tottenham have had a rest before. They haven't made any kind of gilt-edged chances. There was like a header from a corner and they've got into the box. They've had a shot deflected wide. But Leicester kind of looking, how would I describe them? You know, keen to get possession, but whenever they get towards the final third, lacking confidence, to say the least. But with someone like Jamie Vardy around, you just can't rest on your laurels. So it's good that we got a goal, but we definitely need to get the next one. And then maybe we could, if we can get 3, we could relax a little bit. But as a Spurs fan, it's hard to imagine ever relaxing when you're watching Tottenham Hotspur. Not much really to say about the first half. I'll give you the kind of minute-by-minute rundown. Second minute, Pape Matar gave an appalling short pass very early in the game, which nearly led to a chance for Leicester. And I will say about Pape Matar, he's not having his best game by any means. You know, as ever, he's working hard, but his technical ability really lets him down sometimes. He kind of lets the ball get away with him with his touch a little bit. And then, yeah, like I said, about 3 or 4 occasions, he's just played some really terrible passes. 4th minute, the first cross for Leicester. There was a man free at the back post, but he wasn't able to control it. Then straight after, nearly a big chance for Richarlison, who used his body really well to knock, I think it was Wout Face, the centre-back, off balance after a kind of mid-range ball came through. And he was nearly in on goal, but their keeper, who's had a great half, by the way, managed to come out and clear it just before Richarlison was able to take a touch and maybe go round him. 6th minute, good free kick from Son, and the keeper had to come out and get a touch on it to stop a Spurs header, getting a header on goal. 8th minute, I made a note to say that the Spurs' passing has been so poor in that kind of first 10 minutes. It is a windy day. It is a kind of wet day in London, so maybe that is a little bit of an excuse, but come on, they're top-level players. 9th minute, I guess the fatigue is another thing. 9th minute, Ayew chance from the edge of the box was blocked by Davis. It's actually maybe one of Leicester's best chances overall. They got in down the left, if memory serves. And Porro just kind of gave up on chasing back, and the ball was pulled back to the edge of the box. And Ayew just had so much time, and it kind of showed how lacking in confidence he was, that he thought, oh, actually, you know, he wasn't kind of watching what was around him because he had an early shot and he didn't really get hold of it. And Ben Davis blocked him. He was in good position, Davis. Made a note here to say that Spurs looked tired and leggy. And there was another awful pass from Sarr there. 11th minute shot. Sarr did have a shot, but he didn't quite get hold of it. Went straight down the keeper's throat. An easy save. Then the 13th minute, really beautiful shot from Porro was saved well by their keeper. The ball came to the back post and Bergvall was challenging for it, and he fell on the floor, but managed, whilst on the floor, kind of twist his body to get a touch on it so that it go to Bergvall. And on the first time, with his laces, Porro just put his foot through it, and it was a bit central. So it was a save you'd expect the keeper to make, but he palmed it away. 15th minute, some great defending from Archie Gray. Just made a note. What an intelligent player he is. We're so lucky to have him. Definitely, it's already proven to be a great signing, but over the years, that money is going to look like chicken feed. 17th minute, this was, other than the goal, the best bit of the half. Trademark from Sonny, got the ball on the left, cut inside James Justin, cut inside Ayew, comes centrally, and then just wraps his foot around it, aiming for that far left-hand corner. And it's going into that side netting in the left-hand corner, but it's a brilliant save from their keeper. Just got the slightest of touches to tip it wide. And it all started with an amazing cross-field ball from Lucas Bergvall. One of my favourite players at the moment. 20th minute, Leicester were nearly in, but Ben Davies saved us with some good defending again. A shot came from the outside of the box from Justin, but easily saved by Kinski. 28th minute, I made a note, the first run in behind from Pape Matar, and he was nearly found from a mid-range ball from Deki Kulusevski, but the keeper, again, good starting position and cleared it well. Then the 31st minute, nearly a bit of luck for Spurs. Sonny hit the bar with what looked to me to be a mishit cross from the left. And we never saw a replay of that, but it wouldn't surprise me at all based on how well the keeper's playing, because it was really heading into that far top corner. Maybe the keeper got a touch on it, hit the bar and went out. And then just 1 minute later, the goal. Richarlison with the finish, but it was really brilliant stuff from Pedro Porro, who got a really pacey, whipping, nasty. Yeah, I think they're just showing the replay of Son hitting the bar, and I think the keeper did get a touch on it. But the cross for the goal from Porro was just really nasty, like so much pace on it. And Richarlison showed his strength in the box. They're just showing it now. Out-muscled Justin, out-muscled face, and a good downward header. And what Richarlison did well there was he drove for the gap in between the defenders, in between the fullback and the centre-back. And I'm pleased for Rishi. I said it in my opening. If we can get him a goal today, a goal and a victory, get his confidence up, then what a time this would be if we could keep Richarlison fit and get him to go on another run like he did in the middle of last season, where he scored kind of 8 in 10 games or something like that, maybe even more. And a good goal in there for him is really important. I do genuinely think in the long run, kind of two number 9s battling for one position in Richarlison and Solanke is almost perfect for Spurs. Almost perfect. But the problem, of course, is Richarlison especially just does not get on the pitch regularly enough with injury problems. But I'm really pleased for him getting that goal there. 34th minute, Winksy found James Justin in the box. It was actually a really good chance, but Ben Davies, once again, got his body in the right place and deflected it wide. Really good defending. Good punch from a corner from Kinski in the 35th minute. Who's looked pretty calm. 37th minute, Kulusevski, I made a note, looks tired, gave the ball away again when he shouldn't have done. And that led to a very quick transition for Leicester, who had a shot deflected over the bar. From the resulting corner, Feist had a pretty free header at the back stick. And Bergvall and Davis both got around him, which made it difficult for him. And he ended up kind of heading the ball over the bar and heading the back of Bergvall's head. But Bergvall looks okay. 42nd minute, Porro, a good kind of mid-range long ball over the top, and Porro made a good run. It was a great ball from Dragishin. And as Porro kind of looks to his left because he's in the inside right position, he sees that no one's really caught up with him. There's nobody in the box. So his choices are either put his foot on the ball and wait for someone to come in the box, or he thought maybe I can catch the keeper out his near post. So he got a volley on it, got a good bit of power on it, just hit the side netting. But I will say the keeper looked a little worried for a second there. And that is basically the end of what happened in that first half. Once again, guys, make sure you are giving this video a like. If you haven't given it a like, press that like button now, guys. The more likes we get on YouTube, wherever you're watching, the more Spurs fans will come across this video. Also, please, if you're not already subscribed to Chris Cowlin's YouTube channel, make sure you are at Chris Cowlin. He's the Don of Tottenham Hotspur content. Also, you can see in the bottom left-hand corner there, that is my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Barnaby Slater _ The underscore is all important. Guys, give me a subscribe. I'm nearly at 15,000 subscribers, building a really, really great engaged community. And in January, in the transfer window, I bring you daily transfer talk videos, always starting, of course, with Spurs. And then it's all Spurs content all the time from there on in. So please do come on over and give me a subscribe. Like I said, nearly at 15,000 subscribers. Also, guys, after this game, after this watch along, I will be doing an instant match reaction video. And then after that, it will be the Spurs fan call-in podcast, the fan call-in show. where Tottenham fans from around the world will be calling in to give their opinions. So stay tuned for that. And then after that, at about 5 o'clock, the Spurs Chat podcast with Chris Cowlin will be on his channel as well. That will be on a different feed, but keep an eye out for that one. Okay, with halftime nearly coming to an end, let's get into the comments, see what people are saying. Sean says, Bergvall looks a bit tired, not his manic self. Okay, you're saying his manic self is usually bad? I'm not sure. I don't think he's that manic. I like him. Tim Langford says, the longer Rishi stays in the game could prove vital. Sonny playing confident on the left. Can Rishi play the full 90? I have to say, I think it's unlikely he'd play the full 90. I guess in a dream world, we'd get a second and a third goal, and then he can bring on Will Lancashire. G, thanks again for your comments. Says, so far, versus a fully rested and full strength Fox is better than expected from our battered and patched together team. We could easily be 3 up by now. Fox is getting away with it first half. Okay, that's very confident from you, G. I like that. Someone just offering me a job as an English instructor. Well, there we go. I don't think I'd necessarily be great at that. Let's see. What else are people saying? Dearie me. Let's have a look. Tim Langford, thanks for your comment, mate. Says, how Leicester come out in the second half will dictate how confident Spurs look. That's been the script of all season. Yeah, listen, in the Hoffenheim game, of course, we were doing really well. We 2-0 up at halftime, I think we were, and we came out, just sat back and looked very bad in that kind of first 15, 20 minutes of the second half. So I'm hoping Spurs have a little more energy than we did then, but who knows? Patch Thomas, thanks for your comment. It says, Gray, Bentancur and Bergvall doing well. Gardu says, I like the others had an early game nightmare, but his support movement, general pressing with Lucas, with Bergvall, opening spaces by pulling marks away from the ball zone has been excellent. Must appreciate his job. Yeah, I'm sure I don't doubt there's a lot he's doing off the ball that I'm not seeing. But the things that I really can see, where I want players to just do the easy things and play relatively simple 5-yard balls, he hasn't been great at. Phil C says, bring on Bissouma and move Bentancur further forward. Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Silence. Thanks for your message. Says Mikey Moore should come on for Kulusevski. I don't think that'll happen anytime soon, but maybe later in the game. And Apec 20, I'm glad you wrote about this. Says, Winks got so much abuse from our fans. I can't say anyone that we have right now is much better than Winks. Yeah, listen, Winks, he was kind of unfortunate, I think, in that obviously he came up through the academy and into the Spurs first team when we had our best team in my lifetime. Similar to Oliver Skipp in a way, although Skipp, what hasn't happened with Oliver Skipp, and I'm a bit surprised about it, is that he hasn't had a resurgence at Leicester. He doesn't really get in the team at Leicester. I think what probably helped Winks is that Winks first went on loan, didn't he, to Sampdoria in might even have been Serie B, but certainly in the Italian league at that point. And he really became one of the first names on the team sheet at Sampdoria. And then when he came to Leicester, that meant he had his confidence really high. And he does look great. He's always been good on the half turn, getting the ball in that kind of quarterback role. He keeps the ball moving. He got so much abuse from Spurs fans, and I never was one of them to give him abuse. He's one of those players who so naturally fitted into international football as well. He played for England at least once, and he looked really confident for them. TSOM says, Sarr and Bentancur need to be more composed with their passing. Sean Ansell, thanks for writing and said, they look tired, but we know they are Leicester are lacking class. If we had a few more back, we would destroy them. Yeah, I think that's probably right, to be honest. And TSOM says, only negatives, some sloppy passing in midfield, otherwise very good. And then Mr. Tottenham with the points to end all points at the moment. A lot of the Tottenham fan base very, very angry at the moment because we haven't made any outfield signings. Listen, I think it's been proven by the fact that only Manchester City really in the Premier League have managed to get a number of deals across the line. I know Villa have maybe made one. I think the kid from Borussia Dortmund, and they're interested in a few. I actually saw that Villa were interested in Juan Foyth today. And I've been thinking Juan Foyth would be a really excellent fourth choice centre-back for Spurs, but I doubt he'd want to come back to Spurs as a fourth choice kind of again, because he ended up leaving because he didn't get enough game time. But he's so good on the ball, Juan Foyth, and he can play right back or centre-back. Yeah, another one that we probably should have done better with. Silence going up against my thoughts on Harry Winks. Says Winks was just average. Didn't help that we're having too much expectations from him because he's an academy product. And the last academy product who was good was Kane. I think he's better than average, Harry Winks, mate. I have to say he's a Premier League footballer. He's a good footballer. But thank you for writing it in. Rich Chandler says, I loved Winks. He looked great today. He just didn't fit Conte ball. Altair says, expect Rishi to come off around 60 minutes. Hope Lancashire comes on for him or Son. Guys, let me know in the comments where you are in terms of Tottenham signings. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I think from everything Fabrizio Romano says, Tottenham looking to get a forward and a defender in. James A in the comments saying, no ambition still. You're telling me we can't buy anyone ready for the opening of the January transfer window? Well, I think in reality, clubs who are selling players will not often sell at the beginning of the January transfer window because they'll think, oh, well, I can use your interest in the player to try and drum up better interest and get more money. That is why more transfers happen at the end of the window. I mean, that's just common sense. And then the other thing that I've been saying a lot is that, unfortunately, Levy and Langer and Spurs, Scott Munn, we're all now swimming in the same waters as a lot of other clubs looking to bring players in. So, you know, we wanted Dorgu and now Man United want Dorgu and they'll pay more money for him and pay more wages. And I think a lot of the forwards that we've been looking at now, Arsenal are desperate for a forward. So I think like clubs and players and agents are waiting to see what the best moves they can get are at the moment, if at all, in this January window. And Spurs are probably suffering from that. And then, of course, the old thing that's a big problem for Tottenham is that clubs in the Premier League, you know, so-called lower clubs, your likes of your Bournemouths, they don't have to sell their players anymore. They get so much money from TV rights that unless a player comes out and refuses to play for them, and that doesn't happen that much anymore either, you don't have to sell them. They don't have to sell them at all. They don't need the money as much as they used to. Silence says we'll get maximum one mediocre signing on deadline day. It's the history of Levy to do it. Yeah, I mean, look, if you guys are all hoping that Levy's going to pull out £100 million or pay, you know, £25 million extra for a player that is £25 million on top of his valuation, that is not going to happen. He's always going to look for the right deal. And I'm sorry, but for a long time now, Spurs fans, or certainly a corner of the Spurs fan base, have been saying, I don't care about top four. I don't care about that. I just want us to do well in cups. Well, we haven't been in the Champions League for a couple of seasons, and therefore the money isn't there for signings as much as it was before. There is revenue money. There is money there, but it's not as much as it would be before. And bear in mind, when we got Kulusevski and Bentancur, we'd been in the Champions League. So we had more money then in that January window. So they will be trying to get the right deals, and they're going to have to stick to their budget. And it hurts, and it's a shame, but that's how it is. Someone asked me to bring out the shirt, the lucky shirt. The game has kicked off, by the way, but we're winning at the moment. So the fact that I've got it on seems to be enough. But if Leicester equalise, I promise I'll take the shirt off, the fleece off. Sorry. Spurs kicking left to right this half now towards the south stand. Ball comes back to Kinski. He goes wide to Dragusin. He's under a bit of pressure there. Gives it into Porro. Flicks it around the corner nicely to Sarr. And his first touch is good there, Sarr. Kulusevski helps him out. Oh, and then Sarr plays a fucking horrible pass for like the 5th time in this game. And Leicester have the ball as a result. Deary me. Yeah, I mean, so far, if I was going to make a change, it would probably be Basuma for Sarr, I have to say. And, oh, they're in down the left here. Decordiva raid at the back post. That's a goal, Vardy. Spurs found a way to lose the ball on the left-hand side. Leicester's left-hand side, our right-hand side. And he just puts a low cross in. Decordiva Reed comes across the front of the box, and Kinski tries to claim it, but it gets past him. So what happens here? It's Bentancur, I think. No, Bentancur went for a big old tackle. And it's probably a foul. And actually, Porro's just miles out of position. And Decordiva Reed puts a great ball in. And I said it. I'll take the fleece off if Leicester equalise. So there it is. Deary me. Just some pretty bonkers defending from Tottenham Hotspur. Really, really poor. Vardy just always scores. Unfortunately, I'm not a betting man anymore, but before the game, I was very much thinking that the bet on was to for Vardy to score and Bergvall to get booked in a double. Anyway, Bentancur now on the ball. But I said it, didn't I, in the halftime break? I hope Spurs come out a bit better than they did against Hoffenheim. And we've given away a goal straight away. So poor. Down the right. So poor. Just both Bentancur and Porro running into tackles that they don't need to make and therefore being out of position. The ball breaks to Decodiva Reed. One cross, goal. Another cross that we concede from, of course. Vardy's 9th goal in 12 games against Spurs. And all that hard work in the first half, undone straight away. Their keeper goes long. Davis wins the first ball. Bergvall wins the second, then plays a really difficult ball back to Porro. Deals with it well, but it's Bergvall was actually fouled in the back. And it's a foul up on the halfway line. You just knew this was going to be a horrible day. Horrible game. Answer me this in the comments, guys. If he loses this today, does he get sacked, do you think? Oof, Ben Davis just let the ball slip under his feet. He's going to have to clear it down the line. He does to Son, who gives the ball away. Bergvall gets it back. Son, and Bergvall has a bit of space on the left here now that he can drive into. He has to come back, pull back on it, and then he tries a very odd ball. Dragoshin has to flick it on with his head. Kind of 50p'd it a bit there, Bergvall. Shanked it a little bit, but we got away with it. Kulusevski back to Porro. Oh, and we've given the ball away again. And Decodiva Reed again. And they've got loads of space in the middle now, Leicester. Got a free shot on here. It's goal. I'm going to turn the volume up here because they're going to be boos. Just gave the ball away so ridiculously easily. And there are boos in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium here. It's a bad ball from Porro to Bentancur. It's those two again. Nobody blocks the shot, and he just ends up using Davis to bend the ball around him into the far left-hand corner. This is absolutely laughable. I did laugh when it happened because we're just so shit. Leicester, I said at half-time, just looked like they had no confidence in that first half, and yet we've just given them the ball twice, given them 2 goals. And I said it, didn't I? I said to you, will Ange get sacked if we lose this game? And now we are losing the game. Oh, we've given the ball away again. Here come Leicester again. And I think the whole stadium now chanting, we want Levy out. And I think we all know what tends to happen when those chants come loudly. And Leicester just all over us at the moment now. Anyway, Spurs have won the ball back. Here come Leicester again. They've got confidence now. He has a shot from outside the box over the bar. And I think they're chanting now, Daniel Levy, get out of our club. Dragoshin to Porro. Porro goes long. Easily cleared by Leicester. Yeah, the co-commentator talking about the goals that Spurs concede is about decision-making often. It's so true. Just such bad decision-making over and over again. And often not even making a decision when it comes to the amount of goals we concede from crosses. Anyway, Ben Davis driving forward now. Obviously, Tottenham not blessed with options off the bench today. So, lovely attempted ball across the box and cleared in the end. Kulusevski didn't really see that coming. Here comes Postecoglou's answer. Sergio Reguilon is about to come on. Sarr loses the ball again. He's had an absolute stinker this game, Pape Matar Sarr. And of course, Leicester are going to get so many chances in this half now that Tottenham are pushing men forward. And here they come at us again now down the right-hand side. When he gets a cross in, chance from Vardy on... Oh, I'll tell you what. Huge chance for Vardy, blocked well by Dragusin. And then Kulusevski nearly loses the ball. Oh, and we've lost the ball again just outside our box. Oh, got away with it. So, coming on, Reguilon and Mikey Moore for Richarlison. And it's getting booed. Who's the second man to come off? I hope it's Sarr. So Gray is going into central midfield. So it is Sarr who's come off. Mikey Moore wide left. He just needed to get some more energy on the pitch, to be honest. Porro nearly loses the ball again. Gives away a throw-in. So now Son is playing in the 9, which we know barely ever works. And the keeper, he pressed him there. Son pressed him, the keeper, so he had to kick it out. Going to be so many chances for Leicester on the transition this half. This could be horrible. Kulusevski's having a stinker as well. He can't control the ball. He's knackered. Ben Davis wins the header. Bentancur in midfield to Archie Gray. Good ball to Bergvall. Gets a touch on it well. Goes inside to Son. It goes outside again. And Spurs then down the left now with Mikey Moore. Fronting up Justin. He'll have pace over him, I would have thought. So he comes inside. Yeah, that's the right decision. Then he tries to get across him, but we haven't really got anyone in the air. Now Rishi's gone off. Another cross, and that's a corner to Spurs. I wouldn't mind seeing Mikey Moore, how he can do centrally driving at players, to be honest. But also, when he had that first start in the Europa League, he was driving at players from the right, wasn't he? He looked really good doing that. But anyway. Can Spurs score from a set piece? At least Bentancur is on the pitch. He's the only player who has scored from a corner this season, isn't he? I think. Only Tottenham's second corner of the game. Leicester have had 4. Here comes the in-swinger. It's a good delivery, but easily cleared by Leicester. Mikey Moore gets to it first and lays it back to Gray, who's pressed and has to go back to Kinski, who himself is being pressed, but plays a very calm ball into midfield to Reguilon. That's why I asked you the question just after we were equalised against. I had a bad feeling about this. And now we've played into Leicester hands, who are in the position where Spurs have been up against a lot this season. We're playing a team who at this point, they know they can just make fouls, get in Tottenham's faces, press high, defend everything deep, and Tottenham will struggle. And we're at 57 minutes, and Tottenham Not really working this out at the moment. Kinski goes for a long flat ball over the top, and it's a beautiful one towards Decky, who's in. Kulusevski's in. It's on his right foot, though. Keeper tips it wide. And the clearance comes back to Kulusevski. Porro helps him out. Kulusevski outside the box. It was on his right side, so I didn't feel that confident. Porro now down the right. Tries to get across it. Oh, chance for Mikey Moore. And then a shot blocked from Kulusevski. Oh, comes back to Gray. Oh, it's a foul. Great ball from Kinski over the top. Excuse me. In the end, because Kulusevski's not blessed with pace and it was on his right side, in the end, the defender and the keeper both got touches on his shot to stop it from going in. And Leicester got a free kick, which they've spent, 35, 45 seconds on. And that's what's going to happen this half. And that's the situation Tottenham have got themselves in. They've only got themselves to blame. Made some terrible decisions to concede 2 ridiculous goals at the start of this half. And now Leicester are just going to take as long as they can over this game and make loads of fouls. But as we know, I don't like saying it, but Dr. Tottenham, Leicester have lost 7 games in a row, everyone. 7 games in a row. They come to our place and they're 2-1 up with half an hour to go. The commentators talking about how they imagine there'll be nervous moments for Leicester. I think Leicester will get loads of chances on the break. I really do. I think there's going to be trouble for Spurs in this game. Ayew holds it up, winks, and they get out wide to Decodiva Reed. Canus. Bergvall does well. Really well and driving now. He needs help. He does well. So well there, Lucas. Bad ball from Porro, putting Bentancur under pressure, but he gets it back. Now walking with the ball, Pedro, and tries something a bit different. Straight ball to Son, who was fouled. I didn't think it was a foul either, to be honest. He just kind of gets his foot on the ball, Justin, I think. And it sounds like a Leicester player's been booked there. Somebody's been booked for Leicester. It's a good ball from Porro into Son's feet. Didn't think Sonny was really going to keep it under control. So cheers, Leicester. But what Leicester are doing here now is getting around the ref, just stopping this free kick from being taken. This because waste time, doesn't it? So what's happened here? They're all complaining. Oh, and then one of the Leicester players kicks the ball away. So it looks like it's Decodiva Reed who gets booked. Decordova Reed, sorry. So it's Porro over this free kick. It's quite a long way out, but he fancies it. Look, if you can get it over the wall, they've only got a 2-man wall. If you can get it over the wall and then to bounce in front of the keeper somewhere, could be quite horrible to deal with. More likely he'll hit it over the bar, I would have thought, though. Here it comes. Oh, it's a good strike. Deflected, hits the fucking stanchion. Fuck's sake, what a free kick. Oh. Leicester just time wasting so badly now. The keeper launches it long to midfield. Spurs win the first ball, but Leicester get the second one. Porro now gets it out wide to Kulusevski, and he has Bergvall outside him. He's made a lovely run. Well done. He finds him. He holds it up. Lucas tries to find Kulusevski, but defended by Christensen. And then Bentancur once again goes flying into a press. Good stuff from Bergvall. Wins it high there. And Son finds Moore, but Moore wasn't strong enough. And now Spurs have about 8 players ahead of the ball, and Leicester are 4 against 2 here. Son tried to help. It was Justin driving forward. Ayew now plays it down the line to Justin, who tries to find Ayew again, but Dragishin gets his body in the way. "62 minutes gone. Leicester just tapping it about their back line here." Yeah, co-commentator just talking about how open Tottenham are in the middle of midfield. He said sometimes, but I'd say always. Anyway, we've won it back now. Archie Gray tries to find Son, but as ever, Son, when playing in the number 9 position, cannot hold the ball up. Well, Bentancur did well there. Spurs have won it down the right-hand side, and Deki Kulusevski now having to use his strength because he hasn't got the pace. And he tries a little dink ball through, but it goes straight to the keeper. Good run from Mikey Moore there. But there's just too much on the pass from Deki. Oh, Bergvall's working hard. Yeah, he does really well there, Lucas. Oh, and then he's knocked off the ball, unfortunately. Shame. Leicester now have lots of space in midfield again. Are you driving at Reguilon? He does really well, wins it, but goes straight to a Leicester player, of course. Leicester just able to lay it about at the moment. Spurs not really laying a glove on them. But there, good interception, Son. And now Spurs have men down the left. Reguilon plays it into Gray, who does brilliantly first time to Son. Gray is there again. Chance for Archie Gray, but it gets stuck under his feet. Oh, and then he gets a good cross, actually. Well done, Archie Gray. Comes to Kulusevski. Spurs still have the ball just about. And he goes down the line, Deki, twice. Lays it back to Porro. Finds Bergvall, but he goes into trouble and then gives it to a Leicester player. And now Vardy is up against Dragishin. Dragishin does well to get it back to Kinski, who goes back to Dragishin. The fans getting behind Spurs a little bit as Ben Davis plays it out wide to Mikey Moore. Good first touch. Looking to drive down the line, Mikey. Has to come back to Reguilon. No, it's Gray. But Gray has to go backwards. Pointless. Here we go. Finally get it out wide right to Kulusevski. Bergvall's inside him. So is Porro. Porro tries to win a foul. Does brilliantly, Porro. He's at the byline. Pick someone out. He went for the near post. What is he doing? What is he doing? That caused a terrible reaction from the crowd. He did the hard work. He just has to cross it to Archie Gray. He's completely free. Oh. And Ange is livid now with the time wasting. "66 minutes gone now. We've got to find a way to win this game, but I'm telling you guys, I don't think we're going to. I do not think we're going to. Porro down the line to Deki, does beautifully to Bergvall, who does beautifully. And then the ball just got away from him twice. He was fouled. But the ref is not giving any bookings for any of these fouls or any of the time wasting. Decodivo Reed is being an idiot here, stopping Spurs from taking the free kick, and he's been booked. The ref's just giving him another chance. It's a joke. Porro plays it back to Dragoshin, who comes across to Ben Davis. Goes to Mikey Moore. His first touch brings him inside. He tries a little dink over the top to Son, but because the pitch is wet, that goes off and the keeper dives on it. I don't mind him trying little balls like that, Mikey Moore. At least we're trying something a bit different. 20 minutes left now. Dearie me. People got a little bit annoyed with me after the Hoffenheim game for being too negative. But when you watch this stuff and you see it coming and you know, I know there are injuries. And Reguilon's just given away a stupid foul and the Leicester player's pretending that he's really injured when he's obviously not. Oh my God, and Reguilon's getting booked for that. Vardy's now trying to wind Reguilon up. It'll probably work. Wouldn't be surprised if he got himself sent off Reggie or something. Anyway, that's another 2 minutes added because he gave away a stupid foul and Leicester made the most of it. Terrible free kick. Spurs could have probably got that down, but in the end they didn't. They just whack it clear. Son is trying to put a press on. Decky trying to come with him. Mikey Moore's up there too. And in the end, the keeper's going to go long. Kicks it out. Ben Davis to Dragoshin. And into the 71st minute. Davis goes for a big long one over the top towards Mikey Moore. He did really well to turn Justin there, and he wins a free kick. And Justin gets booked. Chance for Spurs to get it in the box. Ange is on a tightrope, I think, guys. What do you think in the comments? I think he's on a tightrope. Can't be 15th in the league, then lose to a team below you, can you? When you're Spurs. Doesn't matter how many injuries you've got. I feel for Ange. I've said it a million times. I like him, but he's on a tightrope. I guess, you know, if there's no option to bring anyone in, though, I don't think you choose Ryan Mason over him, I guess. I don't know. I know a lot of people hate Ryan Mason. I'm not sure. Anyway, Sonny with the free kick. It's going to be an in-swinger. Stay on side, everyone. Keeper comes out, clears it. Porro with a cross, headed over the bar from Dragoshin. And now Vestergaard goes down. Tell you what, they lose this game, they're going to be absolute riots. Like, not literal riots, but in terms of the reaction to it. It's going to be a joke. .72 minutes gone. Tottenham 1, Leicester 2. Keeper taking forever over a goal kick here again. Header 1 up front by Leicester. We get it down to Bergvall, who goes to Porro. And another Leicester player has gone down. Are you again? This is what happens. This is what happens when you give away leads to teams like this. We've seen it this season against Crystal Palace. We've seen it against Ipswich. We see it against everyone because they know, opposition know how to deal with us. To be fair, Bentancur does head Ayew in the back of the head, but it suits Leicester. All of this stuff. Go in the comments, see what you guys are saying. Ange out tonight. Ange Postecoglou, 15 over par. Lots of Levy out, obviously. This isn't good enough. Levy out now. Levy can't go out. He owns the club. Happy clappers still clapping. Ange out. Another flange masterclass. Levy, Ange, and below par players. Anyway, the game has kicked back off now. Spurs down the left with Mikey Moore. Gets to a point, doesn't it, where sad point where you're hoping the 17-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid is going to save you. Moore now driving at James Justin towards the box. Goes outside and inside. Eventually gets a cross in. Easily cleared by Vestergaard. Comes to Porro. Who goes to Reguilon. Plays a horrible ball. Should have gone outside easily to Mikey Moore, but he didn't. Spurs have the ball back on their halfway line now. Ben Davis goes down the line again to Moore. He's got an easy pass on to Reguilon. He tries another ball and it's awful. Two terrible balls from Reguilon in a row, but I guess at least he's trying to do something. Bentancur now outside him to Bergvall, who has Deki Kulusevski on the right. Comes inside, driving across the ball, and he's got Mikey Moore outside him there. Tries a little ball to Sonny, has too much on it, and the keeper comes through and gets it. So, Harry Winks has been booked. Oh, I'll tell you what. Harry Winks just rugby tackled Archie Gray. Nearly bent his ankle underneath him. And another Leicester player down. Now they're making two subs. I'm bringing Buonanotte on, who, of course, is on Spurs' list. Don't be surprised if he scores. Vardy off after his inevitable goal. So 15 minutes left, but I doubt we'll get much actual game time in that. So these subs have taken 2 minutes. I'm only laughing because it's also inevitable. That's the problem. That's how bad we are now. So inevitable. Oh, and the defense of a let a ball bounce. Oh, and Dragusin in the end deals with it. Winsky wins a header. Winksy, sorry. Bergvall does well, gets a foot in there, and then Son loses it straight away. But Archie Gray did brilliantly there and was fouled. And that's a booking straight away for Buonanotte. Archie Gray's looked good in midfield so far. It's getting some good little foot in situations and reading the game quite well. Oh, ball up to Porro there, taken down beautifully, and he goes out wide to Kulusevski, who tries an early cross. That's a corner to Spurs. Frankly, maybe we need some bit of luck from a set piece or something, but they've gone early. Kulusevski to Porro, back to Kulusevski, who tries the cross and it's blocked, comes to Bergvall, plays it to Porro. Decky makes a run for him, so he has to go back across to Bergvall, who comes across to Bentancur. Across to Region. His first touch is bad. The second one was better. He drives towards the byline and a great cross. That was almost like an absolutely picture-perfect, identical cross to the one that Vardy scored from. But this one is defended by Feist because, of course, we don't have a striker in there and Son was on his heels. Another corner to Spurs. In-swinger from Son. Here it comes. Starts out wide. Cleared by Feist. It wasn't Son, sorry, because Son's now got the ball at the back post. He comes to Porro. First time cross from him. It's a deep one to the back post. It was headed back across goal, but the keeper has claimed it, and now he's pretending to be injured, the keeper. And they cut to Ange because the keeper's time wasting. But this is what happens when you get yourself in these situations. And we can't just keep using these injuries as an excuse for the goals that we concede. We concede all the same types of goals over and over again. The ref has pointed to his watch saying that he has made a note of this, but the fourth official with Matty Wells and Ange on the sidelines. So next up, we have Elfsborg at home in the week. I mean, wouldn't be too sure about winning that. They're currently, their season isn't on at the moment, so they're going to be as fit as anyone. And then after that, Brentford away. Zero chance of winning that after a Thursday night. Zero chance of not losing that, I'd say, as well. So that'll be two more losses, one here and one then. We might, Leicester will have won this, so they'll be closer to us. Everton won again yesterday. 80 minutes gone. There's basically been no football in the last 20 minutes. Leicester just taking the piss out of us. Leicester are in down the right-hand side now. But well pushed off by Bergvall. Buonanotte there. Bergvall finds Porro. He finds Decky, but it was a poor pass. Porro then plays another poor pass. Oh, but Bergvall does well to win it and finds Son. And he's got Mikey Moore outside him. He might be our only chance in this game, but it's a bad ball from Son. Moore has a dig. I'm not surprised because we're all so shite. He might as well. Anyway, let's try and clear it, but come straight to Porro. Good first touch. And then an appalling cross. My God. And is the keeper getting booked? Yeah, keeper finally gets booked for time wasting. But I'm not even annoyed at the keeper about it because this is what happens. We've seen it. This is what happens when you concede the same kind of goals and you allow teams to come and beat you at your club or wherever your stadium or wherever you're playing and start winning against you. They're going to keep the ball and they're going to foul you and stay on the ground and time waste. In fact, every team does it except us, pretty much, whenever we're winning. When we're winning, we choose to give them an equaliser and then a goal to go 2-1 up, like we did today. So I'm not even annoyed about it. I'm just like, whatever. In fact, that's one of the big problems with supporting Spurs at the moment, especially in the league, is like the apathy that comes with it. I'm not even that angry about it anymore because it's so inevitable. It's inevitable that a team who've lost 7 in a row come to our place and win. And that is where, I'm sorry, I've said it a million times. I like Ange. I wish it would work for him, but that's where he's in big trouble, conceding the same goals over and over, conceding so many goals, and then just having these embarrassing results. losing to Ipswich at home, losing to Leicester at home. Come on. Come on. Doesn't matter how many injuries you've got. And you saw it. I said in the first half, I mentioned it, you saw it when Leicester got the ball, we're just jogging about. Yeah, maybe they're knackered, but they don't care enough either. They don't, I don't know, like that Everton first half. I think that's where I saw them down tools. Anyway, Reguilon gets to the byline, then kicks it off the pitch. No, yeah. I'm going to put the fleece back on. Hope it brings some luck again. We were 1-0 up with the fleece. Superstition's all we've got left as Tottenham fans. Porro, beautiful ball on the turn to Kulusevski. Bergvall fouled in central midfield, and the ref lets them play on. But why would they? It would be a better position if we had the ball in central midfield. Davis out wide to Mikey Moore. Come on, Mikey. He's driving at the byline, and it's a corner. At this point, like 8 minutes gone, I'm just begging for lots of added time, and somehow Mikey Moore doing something. Porro lays it to Son, but Sonny looks knackered, my God. Lays it back to Porro, who has a shot, but straight down the keeper, actually fumbles it, but straight at him. Tell you, when this game finishes, I'm going to turn the volume up just so I can hear the full booing of this stadium. Keeper's wasting time again. Now kicks it long. Davis clears it to Moore, takes a good touch, but he's surrounded by Leicester players here, Mikey Moore. Or he does really well. Tried to beat maybe one player too many, though. We've lost the ball. Connor Cody and Oliver Skip about to come on for Leicester. Kulusevski's still on the pitch, but he's just looked fucking spent all game. And they've put a ball over the top of Dragichin, and it's offside. Here come the subs for Leicester. Decordova Reed has come off. He always seems to do well against us. Ayew is jogging off incredibly slowly. Just this last 25 minutes has just been such time-wasting bollocks. It's just all the same shit watching Spurs at the moment. Leicester going 3 at the back with Cody. Let's have two own goals, please. One from Cody, one from Skip. That would be good. Okay, Tottenham have the ball, and they play it straight towards Mikey Moore. But they clear it, Leicester. Spurs now have it with Bentancur playing very deep at this point. Anyway, comes out wide left to Reguilon. He tries the ball over the top to Son, who does get it down. Got to go back with Son. He plays a bad ball, but gets it back on his own, but finds Porro. He tries the ball to the back post, but it's cleared by Feis. Don't foul him here, Decky. Yeah, Christensen just plays the ball out. Porro with it. We're into the 87th minute, believe it or not. We are losing at home to Leicester, who have lost 7 Premier League games in a row under Ruud van Nistelrooy. Reguilon to Mikey Moore. Got men all around him, so goes back to Davis, to Dragichin, to Pedro Porro. This would be Tottenham's 13th defeat of the Premier League season. Ben Davies now to Archie Gray. Gives it to Moore and runs outside him. So there's a bit of space for Moore. But he has to go back to Bentancur, who goes backwards to Davies. So easy to defend against Spurs. Kulusevski coming a bit deep for it now. Drives, gives it to Porro. But doesn't give him a run. So it has to go back to Kulusevski. Goes back to Porro, who goes down the line and tries to get across, and it's very deep to the back post. Comes all the way to Reguilon, I think it is. Comes back to Mikey Moore. Comes across again. It's all the same stuff for Spurs at the moment. Ben Davies. And Spurs just walk. There's going to be 7 added minutes as Mikey Moore walked the ball off the pitch there. But even 7 added minutes, we're in the 88th minute now. 7 added minutes. It doesn't matter because Leicester just very, very comfortable. 11 behind the ball. Every team who plays against Spurs know that if you just put 11 behind the ball, find a way to let Spurs give you a goal or two, you'll win the game comfortably. Spurs win the first header. And Reguilon heads it out for a throw-in. And they'll take... Oh, and another Leicester player has gone down. Justin this time. The ref just lets him go down and then just stay down for a bit and then get back up and take the throw. I think that is exactly what the rule of having to go off is all about, to stop shit like that. But this ref doesn't care. This result would see Leicester climb out of the bottom 3. Why hasn't he brought Lancashire on? At least we'd have a little bit of like physicality in the number 9. We've got nothing with Sonny there at the moment. Like keep Son on as well, but go for a 2 up top or something for a couple of minutes. Like, I don't know, whatever. Porro tries the long straight ball. It's a shame he didn't find Mikey Moore actually because he had made a good run there. Leicester clear it. Don't foul him, Bentancur. And he has fouled him. Just fucking idiotic. Idiotic to give away fouls in this situation. Justin's down again. "90 minutes gone now. Don't forget, I'll be doing an instant match reaction after the game. And then the fan show, where fans from all around the world can agree with me at how shit Tottenham Hotspur are. Won the ball now. Ben Davies came forward. Bergvall now. Spurs have lost the ball. Spurs have won the ball back. Dragishin, 6 minutes of added time to go because we've had 1 minute where nothing's happened. Mikey Moore comes inside. Porro. Of course, with no Richarlison or Solanke up top, we can't even get crosses in the box, really. Here comes Deki Kulusevski, who loses it. Not for the first time tonight, it's fair to say. Bentancur. Bergvall. Out wide to Porro. We've just been in these areas so many times. Porro tries to get a cross in, but it's blocked. Bergvall does well to get a body in the way, but Leicester clear this next one, just high in the air. Skip. Yeah, the co-commentator just saying there's a lack of belief from Spurs that an equaliser could come. That's to say the least. Dragishin just with a huge headed winner, just takes out a Leicester player, Daka, who stays on the floor, of course. And of course, once again, the match will stop. He just ploughed through the back of him, Radu. Nearly 5,000 of you watching, guys. Thanks for the support. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of opposition fans are watching as well. Thoroughly enjoying how appalling Tottenham are, I don't doubt. Like I said, after the Hoffenheim game, people were angry with me for my negativity, even when we won. But it didn't matter to me that we won because the performance showed me how much trouble we're in. And that's why this game now, conversely, I don't feel that angry. I just feel apathetic because it was so inevitable. Like, it's inevitable. Like, a team would come and play deep and we'd give them 2 goals, which we did. And then they'd sit deep and wind us up. Lancashire now coming on. And they'll win at our place, just like Ipswich did. Just like everyone does. Archie Gray has come off. He's actually worked hard, Archie Gray. I feel sorry for him. He's a kid. Anyway, Leicester have spent 2 minutes down on the floor now, so that should be 9 minutes total, shouldn't it, of added time. Mikey Moore now on the ball. Reguilon's gone outside him, but Mikey Moore comes in narrow. Comes to Bentancur. Lays it outside, and Porro makes a run outside Kulusevski here, who tries the cross with the outside of his boot. That was something different. Anyway, comes outside to Ben Davis, who goes to Mikey Moore, but the tired pass from Ben Davis. Intercepted. They're going to try and win a free kick here, but they don't. Instead, he's given it away. But then he's won it straight back off Mikey Moore, unfortunately. Mikey Moore got a little touch on his face there, tried to win a free kick, but didn't. Leicester now playing the ball out of the back. They go over the top. Davis gets a good touch on it, though. Again, poor decision-making there from Reguilon. Anyway, throw to Spurs. Bentancur went to the 95th minute here. I mean, the ref should really find another extra 2 to the 7 that he added, really, but who knows if he will. Kulusevski seems stuck out on the right to me all game. Really does. He's going to try and get the ball in the box now, though. Oh, and we're free at the back post. Lancashire! And he was offside anyway. Oh, it was Mikey Moore, sorry. Let's see if this was offside. It was an early cross from Kulusevski. Shouldn't be offside, you know. Oh, and he was. He would have been. And Kulusevski, I mean, went to the last couple of minutes, but based on how easy a chance that was for Moore, we should be getting in that position more often, get Kulusevski to put some of those left foot crosses into the back post. Moore had 15 yards around him. He shouldn't have been offside. Anyway, Leicester have gone long with it. Dragusin, oh dear, what did he do there? Anyway, headed it eventually to Porro, who goes long. Lancashire slipped. Kulusevski's won it and then loses it. Buonanotte just plays it down the channel. Kinski comes out. We're into the last minute, but I think he should find another couple somewhere. As Reguilon tries a big diag, easily cleared by Christensen, but straight to Decky. He gets out wide to Porro. He plays it inside to Kulusevski. He can't get it down. That'll be a corner. Porro's going to take the corner. Outswinger. Can we do a Sheffield United last year? My hunch is no. Here comes the corner. Chance at the near post, but it's cleared. Comes to Decky. Chance at the back post, but it's cleared. Bentancur gets a shot on it, blocked. Then Bentancur's pushed in the back. Free kick takes quickly to Decky, who goes to Porro outside him. Tries the cutback cross. Cleared. And we've done the 7 minutes added, but I think there should be a couple more from the time wasting, but whether there will be or not remains to be seen. Kulusevski, he's going to cross from deep here. Oh, it's a good ball all the way to the back stick. And Spurs are giving away a free kick in the box. And I'm going to turn the volume up because I think the whistle's going to go in a minute. And the booing has already started, I can tell you. Even though the whistle hasn't gone yet. How good is it if you come and play Tottenham at the moment? You can be a team who've lost 7 on a row and you can come to Tottenham and win. Keeper's taking ages over this again. Ball's gone long. Ref is carrying it on a bit. Lancashire already kind of falling over and now gives away a foul. It's weird with young players sometimes. When the ball comes towards them, it's almost like they can't get their balance sorted. Something to do with I guess it's nervousness or fear or something. We're into the 99th minute now. Ange, I cut to Ange, doesn't look happy. Can he survive? This will be 7 home games without a win for Spurs. Dragashin wins the first one. That's the end. And the boos are deafening. This is my instant match reaction to the Tottenham Hotspur 1, Leicester City 2 Premier League defeat at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And I've been saying it during the watch-along. I've been saying how after the Hoffenheim game, I was incredibly negative about Tottenham. And we won, and a lot of people got angry with me about it. And conversely, right now, I feel absolutely nothing. And do you know why I feel nothing? Because us losing to Leicester at home, a team who have lost 7 games in a row, a team who, when I saw their lineup on social media earlier, I looked at some of the Leicester fans' comments and they were like, oh, we're going to lose 5-0. We're going to lose our 8th game in a row. It was inevitable to me that we would lose that game. We were 1-0 up at half-time and it still felt inevitable to me that we would lose that game. And I'm sorry, the biggest problem that Ange Postecoglou has, and he has a lot of problems, even bigger than the fact that we concede ridiculous goals, the same of which over and over again, even though the fact that we've got 1 point from the last 7 games, even though, you know, all of these things, the biggest problem he has is that a fan like me, and therefore presumably thousands, hundreds of thousands probably of Tottenham fans around the world, will currently be feeling the same apathy that I currently do to the fact that we've lost 2-1 at home in a Premier League game to Leicester, a team who had lost 7 games in a row. It's that apathy and the inevitableness of the fact that results like this keep happening in these league games that is Ange Postecoglou's biggest problem. Because all the chants right now are we want Levy out. And we know when the chants get loud enough at the stadium, Levy reacts. And it's never anything to do with himself. Another manager goes. But we're in such a hole. We are in such a hole because what does he do? He sacks Ange Postecoglou. What? And then gives it what to Matty Wells and Ryan Mason? He can only sack him if he's got someone to bring in for him. And if he's got no one to bring in for him who they genuinely believe in, I don't know what they do because, you know, they've made it clear and the fans have made it clear. Everyone's kind of made it clear that we only care about the cups. Well, that's all well and good, except Everton have won this weekend again, 2 in a row for them. Leicester have won against us at home. We've got Brentford away next in the league. What, you think we're going to go to the G-Tech and get a result then? I don't think so. I do not think so. Honestly, the second half of this game, Tottenham were abject. Absolutely abject. And we were winning at half-time, just like we were winning 2-0 at half-time at Hoffenheim. And Ange will come out and he'll go, injuries, mate. Injuries. Well, that doesn't mean... I mean, does he at half-time say to the players, don't worry about being tired in the second half because it's injuries and we'll just blame the injuries? Because that's how they come out and play. In that first 5 minutes of the second half, Pedro Porro and Rodrigo Bentancur made the worst decision-making I've ever seen twice to like press the ball incredibly hard and leave themselves both out of position and then appalling passes, for the second one. And it's like, what are you doing? This is Leicester. They weren't even like pressing them that hard. They weren't even that good. In the first half, like Leicester had a few chances, but they looked devoid of confidence. But no, don't you worry. You come to Spurs and we'll make you feel more confident. Just honestly, so embarrassing. So embarrassing. And Ange is in big trouble. He's in big trouble. I said it before this week. If he loses to Hoffenheim and Leicester, definitely gone. If he loses one of them, I think he's gone. I don't know. I don't know how anyone can possibly defend this appalling form matched with the way that we concede the goals. Even if you've got loads of injuries, I get it. At least 10 players out today, 14 out during the week. I get it. I do. But as I've said numerous times, what makes you think, oh, look, there have been social media clips this weekend, right? Van de Ven and Romero are back in training. What makes you think that either A, when they come back, they're going to stay fit? Because there's no evidence to suggest that based on the entirety of Ange's career at Spurs. And then secondly, what's going to make you think that if they do come back and stay fit for a bit, that other players aren't going to go out injured? Bissouma out again today. Maddison out with an injury today. Because they're all in the red zone, by which I mean, you know, they've been overplayed and brought back too early when they have had injuries. They all just get injury after injury. And this, again, you know, it's a broken record, but Ange has to take some responsibility. He's talked about it before. Muscle injuries come part and parcel with his management and his relentless style. Well, I'm sorry, but at Tottenham, even in the darkest days of the Levy tenure, the darkest days, we haven't been 15th and looking behind us like we are now. And yes, there are 3 teams in this league who are worse than us. Southampton, Ipswich probably, and Leicester. Leicester, we just lost to Leicester at home. So that argument can't fly anymore. And I'll stress it again. I like Ange. I would love it to work for him. And yeah, everyone says, well, look at what happened with Mikel Arteta in his first 2 years. They were brave with him. They were patient with him. Yeah, they came 8th and 8th. We're 15th. It's honestly, it's beyond it. It is beyond it now. And I'm sorry, I know there are a lot of Australian people who watch and they desperately want Ange to work. We all want Ange to work, mate. We like him. He's a good bloke. But the goals that we concede are not just because they're tired and not just because of injuries. The goals we concede are because we are open in central midfield all the time. All the time. And that first half against Everton the other week, that's where I felt they down tools there, and I felt like they down tools in the second half today. They conceded a couple of early goals. They were like, oh, yeah, I'm knackered. You know, I can blame the injuries, whatever. Pape Matar hadn't played for a week or two. He looked absolutely appalling today. I like him as a kid. I think he's got talent, but he looked absolutely appalling today. I'll go through the team. Kinski, I don't think he did anything wrong. Maybe people will say, you know, he dived for the cross for the Vardy goal, the Decadiva Reed cross. I don't think he really had a choice because it's going in anyway. So he dives to try and get something on it or to put off the striker, but it's just a great cross. But the damage had been done. The damage had been done. They're just showing it now. Bentancur flew into a tackle, didn't make it. Porro flies into it, and then Leicester are in down the left, and then he just crosses it for Vardy. Easy. Ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. Like, the way that Ange talks about football, about how it's about we have to attack. You know, it's like gung-ho. It's like the old setting on Football Manager you could do. If you're losing in a game, you go to gung-ho. Well, with Ange, it's kind of gung-ho, even when we're sitting back. Like, we're talking about goals here that were conceded when we had the ball in our own half. But he's even gung-ho like when we're in those positions, because that's why Bentancur has just done mad presses, try and win the ball. Well, it's one thing if you win that ball, but if you don't, then man runs forward with ball in central midfield. Defender doesn't come to him, bends it into the bottom corner. It's as simple as that. It's embarrassing. And I guess I'm winding myself up more by talking about it for 10 minutes here. But in general, I know that at the end of doing this stuff on Chris's channel, I'm going to go downstairs and I'm not going to feel that shit about it. And the reason I'm not going to feel that shit about it is because it's inevitable and the apathy is set in. And that is Ange's biggest problem, because Levy is going to, in the next month or two, be looking for season ticket renewals. And it looks very much like the players are a bit apathetic about the league, because they're like, well, we're all about the cups this season. It's all we care about. We're not going to win a cup when we're playing like this. I'd love to be I'd love to be wrong, and you can meme the fuck out of me if it happens. But we've asked for a while, or people have asked for a while in Tottenham content. You know, all the people who've said for years, I don't care about top 4 anymore. I just want to win a trophy. Well, answer me this genuinely. If we're in like a genuine relegation battle, which we are, and we end up finishing 17th, one place above, or maybe even worse, if we win the League Cup, are you really going to give a fuck about the Carabao Cup? Is it going to be that important to you? Because the thing that people who want trophies so badly, I think a lot of the reasons for it are they have the piss taken out of them on social media all the time. That's what social media has brought forward. Opposition fans getting in the comments, taking the piss because Spurs didn't win a trophy when Spurs came second and third and got to a Champions League final and were brilliant. And a lot of fans, especially young fans, are angry because they're like, oh, my mates take the piss out of me because we haven't won anything. Do you genuinely think that winning a Carabao Cup and coming 17th or 15th is going to stop them taking the piss out of you? Nobody is going to care about winning the Carabao Cup, and we're not going to win the Carabao Cup when we're playing like this anyway. So if you're thinking like that, if you're apathetic about it and you're thinking, I don't care about the league, I've not cared about us getting in the top 4, blah, 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 because we might win the Carabao Cup, get off your horse. This is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Porro at fault for 2 of the goals, so I guess I'll give Kinski 6. He didn't put a foot wrong, I guess. Porro 5 out of 10. He's knackered, obviously. Dragushin 6, 5 maybe. Davis gives balance 6. Archie Gray, I think, worked hard. I'll give him a 6.5. Pape Sarr 4 out of 10. Terrible. Bentancur made 2 mistakes, 5 out of 10. Bergvall worked hard, 6 out of 10. Son, 5.5 out of 10. Rishi got his goal, 7 out of 10. Taken off at 55 minutes. We need him to be fit for the whole games at the moment, and he's not. Another thing to think about, you think Van der Ven and Romero are going to come back. Well, we're only going to be playing him for like 45 minutes at the start of games. And Kulusevski absolutely spent. I thought he had one of his worst games, 3 out of 10. We lost 2-1 at home to Leicester, guys. This is where it has gone for Tottenham Hotspur. This is, I desperately want to think, the night is darkest before the dawn, and we got some good things coming. But Daniel Levy up on his heated seat in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium that he built, from which underneath there's a go-kart track, and the Rolling Stones are coming in a few months' time, and all this stuff that he's done well on the business side. He is under the most pressure that he's been under now. He has to be, because he knows if he sacks Ange, who's he going to bring in? If he doesn't sack Ange, we may continue this way into a relegation battle. And if we, heaven forbid, if we got relegated, we would be fucked money-wise, royally fucked, and people wouldn't turn up to the ground. So Levy is under big pressure. Because we're so bad in the league and because we don't pay a lot of wages, we can't get players through the door. And the fans want players desperately because Ange says he needs players. And I think the quote he used was, we're playing with fire if we don't bring in players. And he's got 8 days left until the end of the transfer window, Daniel Levy, to bring in players. But nobody wants to come. No players who are good enough, deemed good enough by Ange or Langer or Munn or whatever, want to come. So what's his option now? To bring in another Timo Werner, another appalling signing? I'll tell you what, it is an absolute shit show at Tottenham at the moment. And yeah, I've managed to wind myself into a situation where I'm annoyed about it. But like I said, in an hour or two's time, I'm going to go downstairs, eat some food, and just be like, kind of laugh at Tottenham. I laugh at them with my girlfriend at the moment. It's laughable. We're a joke. And plenty of you Spurs fans, or a corner of the Spurs fan base, hang your heads in shame for the way you reacted when we had Poch, and where you thought Poch had to go because we didn't win anything. We had an unbelievable side who were the envy of a lot of Europe at that time, and we couldn't quite get over the line. And a lot of you were like, Pochettino out. Like, hang your heads and look back on those times and think how the grass is always greener, because we are now an absolute laughing stock. And we've got Elfsborg at home. Elfsborg are going to be fitter than that Leicester team were. They haven't played in ages. And you think we're going to roll them over and come in the top 8? It's more realistic than in that last Europa League game. We will lose at home to Elfsborg or draw, get knocked out of the top 8 and have to play a 2-legged playoff game in February in the Europa League. 2 more games that then players will get injured at. And then we go to Brentford away next week. You think we're going to win at Brentford away? We're going to lose to Brentford away. And Thomas Frank, who's on our list probably to replace Ange Postecoglou, will do one on put one on us. Terrible, terrible time to be a Spurs fan. And I'm not ashamed to say it. It's inevitable. I feel apathetic about it. And we're in the mud. And Levy needs to make some fucking changes and prove how badly he wants this, because he doesn't look like he wants it. And all the people who say Levy doesn't care what happens on the pitch are kind of being proven right at the moment. Levy has the purse strings there. The revenue is high, so you can spend. And you might have to properly spend now. You might have to go to Eze at Palace and say to Palace, we need him 70 million. Can you reject 70 million? He's not going to do it, but he has to do it because we are stumbling to relegation, and it's a joke. That has been my post-match preview. Please do like the video and press subscribe on the channel. Thank you very much. Welcome to the Fans Show. I'll be talking to a number of Spurs fans from around the world where we will be discussing the Tottenham Hotspur 1, Leicester City 2 Premier League game, where we lost to a team who had lost 7 games in a row prior to this. And Tottenham have found a way to lose to them. And frankly, I think lose to them quite comfortably. I think Leicester probably deserved it. They worked harder. Spurs were shit. It's as simple as that. And I'll be talking to fans about it. First of all, I'm going to go to Blake in Australia, who's probably been up all night watching that shit. Blake, how did that seem from where you were watching?
Barnaby, thanks for having me. Obviously, 2:45 in the morning here in Australia. I get up week in, week out to watch this team. Initially, when Ange came in, there was much excitement in Australia. I know you were saying in your post-match review that, Australian fans are really excited for him to make this work. And I was there, but over the last fortnight, 3-4 weeks, month, it hasn't been there. It has not been there. The performances are really dropping off. It's getting harder to get up this time. I bet. Every time. And the players just look on their feet. They look like they need support. And, this is obviously, you want to be in Ange's corner, you want to be in the manager's corner. But he's part of a much bigger systematic issue, I feel. And yes, the performance today was not good enough. But players are running on empty, and he's not giving the support. As you said, there's 8 days left in the window. Yeah. Are we going to get bodies through the door? I don't think so. I just don't think that's how this chairman works. If he can pinch a penny, then he will. That's just how it feels from the outside looking in. And a dismal performance today. Just so many individual errors, start to finish. And it, as you said, appalling. Really, really poor.
I've never seen a midfield that is so open so regularly for an opposition team to just ghost through. And that second goal was almost like the perfect example of everything that unfortunately is wrong with Ange's team. And yeah, listen, I agree with everything you're saying about them being dead on their feet. They're all running on empty. It's all true. It is all true. But still, there is no excuse why structurally teams should be able to go through the center of midfield like that. Play a double pivot. Play Bissouma there. And if it's not Bissouma, then play some academy kid. I'm sorry. Play a body there. Because it's all well and good, Ange, I think trying to make another statement to the board by only having 8 men on the bench, right? But you've got academy players there, so you're cutting off your nose to spite your face. And that is, I'm afraid, where, again, another reason I think Ange is got himself in problems, and why, even though I would still say, there's I don't think there's even a groundswell to say Ange has to go because they all hate Levy so much. But Ange doesn't help himself. And I think, therefore, It's got to the point now where if Ange does get sacked tonight, and it might happen, then I don't think there'd be many people saying he didn't deserve that.
No, I totally agree. And it's so funny because my notes up until halftime, 1-0, I thought, we're going okay here. We're actually managing the game pretty well. Going into injury time, we were kind of happy to sit back. And, that was that pragmatism that we're all asking for, right? It was and adapting a little bit, not so much formation-wise, but definitely just trying to sit back and hold possession and just hold out till halftime. Came out at halftime, and those notes were out the window. It was just giving up the ball. It was open as end to end, and letting a really, really poor side in the relegation zone we made them look first class. Exactly the same as Everton last week as well. We went away to them and we made them look amazing. It's a much bigger issue than what's in front of us, really. Great, good on Daniel bringing in a keeper at the first day of January or whenever it was. But then there's been absolute radio silence since. They've lost their top target because I'm assuming it would be due to wages or the fact that they can't afford him, or you got a better deal wanting to play Champions League in Juve. With Juve, it's nobody wants to come to us at the moment because we are sleepwalking into a relegation battle essentially now.
Yeah. I've actually never, I can't think of another club of our size. And yes, let's give credit to Levy where it's due. We are this size club now because he built us a huge stadium. Fine. But I can't think of a club this size who have been so close to this relegation battle now that Spurs are sleepwalking into as Tottenham. And I just want to ask you this, because I said it, I think, at the end of my post-match reaction, but Levy is in such a bind. Like, you sack Ange, but who can he bring in? Or, I just want to ask you, like, is there a correct answer for Levy? Like, I don't know if there even is.
I don't think so, because he's put himself in this position now for such a long time. And you were totally spot on. I was absolutely devastated when Poch got the sack all those years ago. I think I would say 90% of fans were going, oh, what is going on here? Okay, they had Jose Mourinho lined up. Fantastic. That's a really, really good thing. But I didn't think the results were that bad at the time. And now it's like, we're sitting in 14th. It was early in the season. Obviously Nuno was there's just been so many issues. And I think what the most frustrating thing for me as a fan, right, is every manager aside from Poch before he got to Spurs has had some form of success. Where you can look at the level all you want, but it was Conte, it was Mourinho. Nuno got Wolves promoted. You count that as success, I suppose. But I think he's put himself in a bind here because there's just been so many managers over so many years under his tenure, and it's wearing thin with people because they go, 18 months has passed. Oh no, the results aren't there. Let's just get rid of the next one, bring someone else in. And he really has put himself in a bind now.
I think he's even. Sorry to interrupt, Blake, but I think I think he's put himself in a bind in every single part of his ownership of this club, because even with, everybody talks about how ENIC are an investment group, so they never came in to Spurs with the idea that they were going to invest their own money. They came in with the idea that they can, spend money on the team that is made by the club, and they've made the club bigger, so the club has more revenue, etc., etc. But now it's got to the point with Spurs, I think, where the club are worth so much that I don't think anyone's even going to buy the club. So I don't really see where it goes for ENIC even.
Oh, and the truth of the matter is, the moment that Daniel decided to sell up on Harry Kane, admittedly, he probably wanted to go, right? He wanted a new challenge.
Yeah.
But that is ripping the heart out of the team. And he's trying to replace it with these Timu pieces. It's like you're selling him for 110 million or whatever it was, whatever the fee was around that mark. And you're replacing him with cheaper pieces, trying to make it work, or going with youth. I think Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall were brilliant today. And yes, they're great for long term, but for short term, we're in strife. We need help. We need players through the door. And I fear that it's not going to happen. The 8 days are going to wind down. We're going to be in the same predicament. We're going to have the same injury problems again. Does Romero and Van de Ven even coming in, does that actually change anything at this stage?
No, it doesn't, because we're so bad in so many different areas of the pitch. I don't think it does. The only thing that I think Levy could do is like break the transfer record of the club or something. But I really don't think anyone's going to come. Like, even if they're willing to do that, which they're clearly not willing to do that, I don't think anyone's going to come anyway. Listen, Blake, thank you so much, honestly, for staying up so late. And I hope you're able to get some sleep. And let's hopefully talk after a better result sometime.
Sounds great. Thanks so much for having me, Barnaby. Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Okay. Next up, one of our regulars, Steve in the Czech Republic. Steve. You know, since we started talking to each other after these games, it's been a pretty bad run overall. Is that the new nadir, though? Is that the new nadir?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I nearly didn't want to come on. I didn't really want to come on, obviously, but yeah, it was just abysmal performance from the get-go. Although we scored a goal, it was just. I noticed that Sarr's first 3 touches of the ball, he just gave it away. I mean, he's not the only one, but I thought, oh, this is not looking good. And then
he didn't play. He didn't play in the week, so he's not tired.
No, exactly. I don't see matter with him. I don't, unless you know something about Richarlison. Was it just the fact it's game time and it was needed to take him off? But I didn't see the logic of not putting Lancashire on for him as a target man, because a couple of times the ball did actually get into the box and nobody was on the end of it later on in the game.
Yeah.
And then he brings on Will Lancashire so late. A lot of people were texting me and saying, you know, what's with that? Why has he taken Richarlison off? And while he just used a straight swap with Lancashire.
For me, I think the taking Richarlison off is because Richarlison is now top of the list of the players we cannot afford to get injured again.
Yeah, that's a possibility. But, you know, we need to finish the games. I mean, we were abysmal, but on the other hand, we did have a couple of bits of extreme bad luck with the strike from Sonny, which hit the bar, or more like a dink shot in the first half, I think it was. And then the free kick, I think it was from Porro, that just grazed Vardy's head and hit the bar.
We're clutching at straws, though, aren't we, mate?
Hey?
We're clutching at straws, though.
Yeah, we are. I'm trying to find some.
We were dross. We were absolute dross, and the game will have gone. The game will have gone exactly how Leicester wanted it to. Obviously, except for conceding the goal. But even at half time, you know that Van Nistelrooy would have been like, "Listen, just play how you're playing. They will give you goals." And we did. And tell me how you feel about it, because that, I think, is Ange's biggest problem out of all the problems, even bigger than the injuries, that he keeps giving his teams, keep giving the opposition goals that other Premier League clubs don't really do, certainly not top level ones.
No. I was very disappointed again with, I think it was the second goal where they kept backing off. I think it was Dragusin was backing off, which he seems to do a lot. And then Davis sort of turned his back on the shot. You know, I'm not really mad about that. And it sort of screwed into the corner. Oh, the second goal was a good goal. The first goal was that one. But they were backing off.
The first goal was the cross to Vardy. The second goal was the one where he bent it around Davis.
You know, I'm so annoyed. I'm just fucking, you know,
Well, Steve, answer me this. What's going to happen next at Tottenham Hotspur? What is going to happen next? Because we've got 8 days till the end of the window. We've got a manager who's got, what is it, 1 point in 7 Premier League games or whatever it is. Something has to happen. I feel like we're at a breaking point here, and I'm not sure what that breaking point is.
I'm not sure if he's actually going to keep his job for the first time this season. I'm seriously thinking that at home against such a poor side might be the tipping point. There is still no point in changing him or getting rid of him because of the things we keep mentioning all the time when it's been discussed at this stage. But you know, it's got to be down to the board and Levy for not bringing in players much earlier.
Answer me this, Steve. I'm going to give you a hypothetical. I'm going to give you a hypothetical from a name that is rumoured to be on the list as a potential next manager of Tottenham Hotspur. Mm-hmm. If Daniel Levy goes to Brentford and says, we will give you £25 million for your manager now, right? And let's say, hypothetically, Brentford, you know, Thomas Frank says to them, I'd like to go, and I'm not suggesting he would, but let's say. Thomas Frank has shown in his time as Brentford manager that he has changed things on the pitch based on the kinds of players that he has available. He has changed the style of play based on whether he's a championship club who have the best resources or a Premier League club who start with the worst resources. So he went more direct when he started at Brentford and then tries to play better football. If that was an option, would that be an option that as a Spurs fan, you would be interested in?
Yeah, it would be, to be honest. I probably would be, yeah. But the thing is, if he's still got the same players as Ange has got, to use at the moment. I don't think he's going to do any better in the future, possibly.
But might he put two players in central midfield who are willing to just kind of sit in front of the back four and say, you're not going to have two ridiculous goals here?
Yeah, it's quite well. It's definitely possible. He's a very good tactician. See, they won again today away at Palace.
Yeah.
There was so many individual poor performances. I know they're tired, but I mean, cross the bloody ball. I didn't understand Porro's 2 shots, one in the first half, one in the second half. There's people waiting in the 6-yard box. I mean, come on. Why is he doing that? Yeah. And then, it would have sort of made things a little bit better. It would have been at least a draw if we'd got a second goal. But I don't understand that.
So if you were going to put, Steve, before I let you go, if you were going to put a percentage chance on Ange still being the manager on Thursday night, what would you say?
About 15% chance, I reckon.
Okay, so you think it's happening?
I'm not saying I want it to.
No,
but it is happening. I don't understand a lot of the decisions today, but maybe it will come out in the press conference after the game. Like you said, Richarlison, he wants to keep fit, but after 55 minutes, and then they scored 2 goals in a very short space of time after half time.
Yeah.
For the first time, I'm sort of questioning his logic about the team he puts out and the changes he makes during the game. I don't understand a couple of those changes at all.
Listen, Steve, thanks again. Thanks so much for talking to us. Really appreciate you being a part of the show.
For you as
well.
So
let's speak after a better result, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
Right,
Fingers crossed. All right. Cheers, man. Bye.
Okay. Next up, another regular, Paul, who is in Ireland. Paul, have you got anything? Have you got anything for me? Have you got anything for me after that performance? I mean, where do we go from here, Paul? I guess is the main question.
I've got a headache after that performance, but that's about it. I don't know, Barnaby. We touched briefly the last time we spoke. I don't think this is a matter of Ange is going to get the sack. I do strongly now think this is a matter of Ange is going to walk. And the fact that he has said numerous times over the last 7 days, we are playing with fire if we don't recruit. He is basically crying out for help. And whether he's being ignored or the players just aren't available, we don't know. But there's just literally silence when it comes to Spurs and not even a rumour of a player. There's just nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that's what I fear. I don't want him to go. I've said this to you numerous times. I don't want him to go. And a fully fit squad, we're having a completely different conversation. But we don't have a fully fit squad. And I do agree, in game, he lacks tactical nous where, you need to stick somebody in front of the back four for 5 minutes and make sure we get through the next 5 minutes, we do not concede. He doesn't do that. He just, and that's extremely frustrating. Extremely frustrating. And I don't know what's going to happen. I would not be one bit surprised if he walked.
But if he walks, of course, he loses out on any compensation, Paul. So that probably is the least likely of all the things, don't you think?
Yeah, I see that. But even looking at his reputation, he's had a decent record wherever he's been. Now, albeit not in the greatest leagues in the world. But if I don't know, I even find it hard to talk because it is extremely frustrating. That was an absolute shit show today. It really was. And yes, I'm just to blame. You need to take a look at players as well. Where are the players that would take a small bit of personal responsibility? Grabbing somebody by the neck and saying, "Look, that's not good enough. We need
Yeah, Paul, can I ask you a little hypothetical? I'm just thinking in my head now, and maybe I'm being completely naive here, but is there not, is it the fact, do you think, that the players at the top level of the academy at Tottenham are so bad that none of them can come in and be kind of a body in a match like that? That if it's, if Ange's going to come out and say, look, Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall, they fell to their knees after the match on Thursday night and they're so tired they couldn't get through it, right? And actually, I thought Gray and Bergvall worked harder than most other players tonight, to be honest. So that, I'm using them as an example. But surely there are some players at the top end of the academy who are good enough to kind of do the basics and in a structure against a team like Leicester, who I'm afraid were, you could see in the first half, devoid of any confidence until we gave them confidence by giving them 2 goals, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
So I just think, is there also a little bit of stubbornness with Ange where he's like, I'm not even willing to put players on who have energy because I don't think they're good enough, or is it that the academy players just aren't good enough?
Yeah, look, I can see where you're coming from, but are our academy players not that good enough? Like, look back to, was it last season, or was it Premier League 2, they call it? Or,
yeah, they won it.
Yeah, like they have, surely there are some decent players there. You would like to think so. And these are not like under 17 or under 18 players. These are players that are 20, 21, 22, whatever they may be. If that, or maybe up to under 21, that is called. But these are men. So, and they've went and won Premier League 2. You would think somewhere along the lines that some of them would be good enough.
Yeah,
but
I just think, I have to say, I think the thing about Ange being unwilling to use even an extra academy player to fill up the bench strikes me as like another example of his stubbornness, and I think his stubbornness might be something that gets him the sack in the end, to be honest.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, that could happen. That could happen. I hope it doesn't. Look, when it comes to Spurs in general, and Ange, I'm still the ultimate optimist. I think this can turn. No, we are running out of time. I know it's, we're coming to the end of January.
It'll be a monumental turn, won't it?
Yeah, we are running out of time, big time. And look, I said to you 7 days ago, we are 19 days into the transfer window and we've signed a goalkeeper. 7 days later, we're now 26 days into the transfer window and we've still only signed a goalkeeper.
Paul, if they don't want to come, if the players don't want to come, because they look at that and they're like, they're 15th in the league and they've won nothing in 7 games and they've just lost to a team who've lost 7 matches in a row. What can they do? I mean, I get a lot of people, of course, and I understand asking, including Ange, asking for players, says they need players. But are we getting to the point where we're suggesting bringing in players who don't suit the system, who don't suit, who won't have a future at Spurs? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, and that's it. And again, Ange has touched on that going back to the summer. And even when he came first, he only wants players that are going to buy into his philosophy. Mm-hmm. So if those players aren't available now, then they're not going to come. They're not just going to sign players just for the sake of it.
Yeah, and also players' agents right now are going to be going, don't sign to their clients. Don't sign for Spurs because their manager's about to get sacked. And then he might like you, but the next guy won't.
And I think a bigger issue that we are missing. What about the players that we actually do have? We're looking at Romero, Van de Ven are out injured at the moment. Fantastic players when they are fit. But what are they on the sidelines thinking? This is not great. Come the summer, I don't fancy another season of this.
Well, actually, do you know what I was going to say? And just before I let you go, Paul, that's an interesting thing as well, because I think another way that Levy is in a bind is, do you remember about 2 months ago, a leak came out from Romero or his agent saying, I love the manager, and if he left, I would want to leave too.
Yeah.
So, and he hasn't played a game since. So I don't think he's down tools. I don't think he's changed his opinion on Ange, probably.
No, I don't think so. No, and look, I do. I'd like to think that the vast majority of the players are behind Ange. We are just in a serious bind at the moment. We need to find a way to dig ourselves out. And I know it's not going to happen players-wise. Just very quickly before I go, being a footballer, like taking responsibility for yourself and others around you. It just reminds me once, a long time ago, just before the 2002 World Cup, Republic of Ireland played France in Paris. I can't remember whether it was a playoff or not. But that night, Giovanni Trapattoni was in charge of the Republic at the time.
Yeah.
And all 11 players on the pitch, in order to try and get some sort of result from France, they went rogue. They did exactly the opposite of what Trapattoni told them to do. And they almost got over there with a win. It's players taking responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, like,
and then Trapattoni got sacked pretty soon after, I guess.
He did. And then, to be fair, he did. I understand that. But what is stopping? We went 1-0 up, came out after the second half. What is stopping? We say Bentancur saying, I'm just going to sit here for 5 minutes, and we're going to get through the first 5 minutes of the second half without conceding.
Yeah.
Let's just do this for 5 minutes. We'll settle down.
He did the exact opposite, where he just ran into a complete tackle unnecessarily. Anyway, listen, Paul, great chat again, as usual. Thanks so much for being part of the show. And I'll speak to you again after Thursday night. Cheers, mate.
Thanks very much. Take care.
Bye. Okay, just before I go to the next caller, got some stuff through from Postecoglou's post-match interview. When asked about taking Richarlison off, he said he was feeling his groin. He should have come off at halftime, but he wanted to give it another 10 minutes. I saw he wasn't running up right, so I had to take him off. Well, that frustrates me, because if he's feeling his groin, don't let him stay on another 10 minutes. That is something we've suffered with. It's too many times players getting re-injured. He also said this, Ange, about Pape Matar. He should not have played today. He was obviously not fit. Now, is that Ange saying, I shouldn't have played him, I took a risk on him and I shouldn't have done? Or is it him saying, Pape said he was fit and he clearly wasn't? Very, very interesting stuff. Next up, I'm going to talk to Harry. Harry, mate, thanks for being patient.
No worries.
What are your thoughts after that loss against Leicester?
I don't know. It ruins. I mean, I know it's a Sunday, but the rest of the weekend's ruined. It's just I don't know what to say anymore, because I'm not sure if you remember me from previous times I've been on or anyone else, but I think I've been one of the biggest fans of Ange. No one wants him to succeed more than I do. I'm a massive fan of him, or so I was. I'm not. I just can't defend it anymore. And it's happened like this. It's been one game, but today was disgraceful, honestly. I mean, and I just read a comment actually saying the players stopped playing for Ange in November 2023, which I don't see how that could be wrong. We were playing one-touch football. I mean, we rewatched the highlights of that Chelsea 4-1 loss, and it was that ball from Sarr to Udogie. It was first time through a crowd of players with his left foot, and then we go on and we score with Son. That we don't see any glimpses of that anymore. And then I was saying to my dad earlier, saying about because we used to have season tickets and we cancelled them because it was a time under Nuno and the football wasn't great. And I'm thinking, and we were saying, we're joking about should we get them? But today just proved that my dad's point of no, like the football isn't good enough. We're going to spend money on, and all that money is going to go to Levy, who's going to sit there, do nothing with it for the club, who's going to sit there licking his lips so all the money comes in. He's watching our team suffer. I was watching it today, and the camera panned him. He was sat there just with a gormless look on his face. He doesn't care at all. He doesn't. He wants nothing to do with it. He's just there to watch it. It's like he's a neutral fan.
Just a couple more quotes from Postecoglou. He was asked whether he'll be at Spurs still to see all his injured players come back. He said, "Who knows, mate? I'm sure there will be a fair chunk that say no. As a manager, sometimes you can feel really isolated. I don't, because the players, they're still giving everything for this club, and I've got great staff who are doing the same." What do you think about that?
I don't even know at this point, to be honest with you. I was similar to the other guy from the Czech Republic that was on here. I mean, I didn't even want to come on. It sucked the life out of me. Like the comments have been saying that Levy has sucked the life out of our club, which it has. It literally has. I mean, I think the majority of Spurs fans now will want Ange to go, that being if he sacked or he walks. So I really don't know at this point, to be honest. I think this was a big game for his future. And I think Elfsborg will. I think if we fail to beat Elfsborg, then I think that will probably, be the last laugh for Ange, I think.
Obviously, there was some chat a couple of weeks ago from Edin Terzic, the ex-Borussia Dortmund manager, where his agent came out and said that they were waiting for an offer from Spurs. It feels to me like he probably was talked to at some point. If hypothetically that was a man who came through the door, if they sacked Ange and brought him in because he's out of work, how would you feel about that?
I mean, obviously he got them to a final, didn't he, in the Champions League against Madrid? So obviously he had a good campaign there. But again, that was in the Bundesliga, which isn't the Premier League. So I can't say I watched enough of him to make my decision. But I just, as much as I am Ange out at the moment, I also have to look at the other picture and think, if we do sack Ange and we bring in Terzic, what's saying that he's going to pick up and sort this mess out? Because no one's going to sort this mess out. I mean, the comments have been saying that we are far too much now down, 15th place in the league, and no one's going to sort this out. I mean, we've got about 15 games left in the Premier League, I think. We're not going to start climbing up the table. People are going to have these optimistic thoughts, but nothing's going to happen. We're going to stay in this position, or get even worse. We have Brentford away next weekend, where we'll comfortably lose that game. We'll get dominated. Brentford won today 2-1. And it was a good performance by them. Thomas Frank is an excellent manager, so we'll get nothing at Brentford, I don't think. So that'll be yet again another loss. Everton have got a game in hand, so we could find ourselves 16th by next Monday, or even worse, this time next Sunday perhaps. But I just think no one can come in now and sort this mess out. It's either Ange just sticks with it the whole season, and like you said earlier, we can win the Europa League or Carabao Cup maybe, but I don't think we will. There's no chance we're going to see out a 1-0 win at Anfield, or even if that they get a goal inside 5 minutes, then we're all square and we're back to square one. So there's no chance we'll get anything at Anfield. Even if we do, Newcastle will absolutely tear us apart with Isak and Gordon. Europa League, we've already proved that we went to Galatasaray, were outplayed, absolutely outplayed. So we can meet them, or even people hard like Lazio or Anderlecht or someone like that. We have absolutely no chance in those competitions either.
Oh, Harry. Is there any chance at all, just before I let you go, is there any chance at all that Levy is so chastened by the appalling form that he's like, okay, let's go to such and such a club and offer them a ridiculous record fee for a player that we really would genuinely improve our first team straight away?
I can't see him doing that, because for years we've been saying, I think it was years ago we were linked to Dybala, who everyone was going nuts about, and it never happened because he didn't want to put his hand into his pocket. We're not going to get Eze because Palace will demand 60, 70 million. Instead he'll go for someone, some unheard of teenager in the Championship who's, really promising and is going to sort everything out. It's not going to happen. I think I was reading a comment actually again before, they're saying bring back Solomon. Well, he's a winger. He takes on his man. He cuts in. So, you could recall him, but Ange has already stated that there's no chance we are going to, recall either him or Gill, which obviously I'm not saying I don't blame him. Gill obviously isn't good enough, but it would be great if we could, go in for someone bigger that would sort this mess out. But I fail to. I cannot believe that £100 million got us Johnson and Solanke. I mean, not so much Solanke, because when he's played, he has been good with his hold-up play. But Johnson is terrible. I mean, 40 million or whatever it was for him. I cannot believe we paid that much for him. At the beginning, I'm all about giving players time, but when you think about it, it was a few tap-ins. That's all it was from Johnson. He is awful. Like, he doesn't take on his man. He passes backwards more than he goes forwards. I think I just don't know what to do. Where do we go at this point?
Yeah, another one who's not fit. Strong feelings from you there, Harry. Thanks so much, mate, for being a part of the show. And speak to you after the game on Thursday. Cheers, mate.
Okay. See you soon. Thank you.
Okay, next up is Ronnie. He's been very patient. Ronnie, thanks so much, mate. How are you feeling? You're a slightly younger member of the fan base. How are you feeling?
I'm losing patience, put it that way. I'm very deflated. The first half I thought was good, but the second half I felt like I was sleeping during it. It was just so hard to watch.
What do you think? What's going to happen next, Ronnie? Like, what is going to happen next at this club? Because there seems to me like I felt strongly after the Everton game. I thought Ange might go then, because it looked to me like the players stopped working for him in that first half. And then after kind of a day or two of noise, it kind of calmed down, and then he got to the next game and we snuck a win. Do you think it's going to be similar? Will there be a bit of noise tonight and in the morning, and then if he doesn't get sacked, he'll stay? What do you think the situation will be?
I think we'll keep him. I think it's not. I've never thought really it was a massive Ange problem. It's a Levy problem in my opinion, but I think we'll get past Elfsborg and it'll be a similar thing with Brentford, and we'll have this cycle for a couple of weeks.
What makes you think we'll beat Elfsborg after watching that today?
I will after today. Obviously, you're going to think that we can't go past them, but Elfsborg they're not a big side. They're not like if it was like Hoffenheim again, I'd be maybe saying something different, because that was a poor performance. But Elfsborg aren't anything. I don't think, in my opinion, anything to worry about. But I'll eat my own words probably on Thursday. Yeah,
my worry with Elfsborg is that they're not actually in their season at the moment. It's usually you'd say, okay, so they won't be ready, but actually they'll just be so fit and fresh. And once again, we'll have 11 players on the pitch who have played every 3 days for the last 2 months. where are you at with the Ange in, Ange out?
Well, last week I was a bit optimistic. I was more Ange in, but I think he's more like. I don't think he'll get sacked. I think he's more likely to walk than he is to actually get sacked. Who's the replacement? I can't see who the replacement would be. Like manager like Iraola, why would he want to come to us? Why? What's the point? I mean, if you can strangle like a Marseille for De Zerbi, I'd be happy. Honestly, I don't have an answer for a manager.
There's no way De Zerbi's coming from Marseille. There's absolutely no chance.
No, yeah, I agree, but I've not got a name. Honestly, there isn't one.
Therein lies the problem, right? That's why I think Levy's in such a bind. He's like, he can't sack him, he can't keep him, and he's not going to spend the money that would give us some energy, like some proper energy, as in genuinely improve the first team right now. So it really feels like there's a massive breaking point coming, but I cannot tell what it is. Might it be? Listen, you're too young, and I'm a bit too young for this, but we got relegated in 1978.
Yeah.
And people think, when they think of that, they think, oh, but, that was years ago, right? But that was 17 years after we'd won the double. Okay. And now we are, 70 years or 60 years after we won the double. So it's more likely we could get relegated now than it was then almost. And I know it seems mad, but we just lost at home to Leicester, who are one of the three teams that everyone says, oh, they're 3 teams worse than us.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's ridiculous.
I just think for me, almost like the fan base as well, myself included, maybe we're all sleepwalking into a situation where we think we couldn't get relegated, but actually we could, because the big thing for me is I don't know what makes us believe that even when we get these players back, they're not just going to get re-injured again like they have every other time.
I do feel like it was a physio problem though, because they've literally got sacked straight away as soon as the whole injury problem happened, and then
because it was happening last season as well. Listen, it's an Ange Postecoglou problem. It's because of the way that he insists that we play and that we train.
Yeah, it's definitely an over intensity in training as well, because the amount of hamstrings, and when hamstrings go, it's a sign that it's a training problem. But the amount of injuries this it's a complete anomaly, I think, because 4 or 5, fine, that is still an Ange problem. But having 14, 15 out is ridiculous. I think that is overextensive, and it's a sign for me where it's players coming back too early from injuries. It's like against Chelsea, Romero van der Ven, you could tell within 5 minutes they were not ready to play, and they just got injured again and were out for weeks.
Yeah, but in that tweet I just read out from Ange's interview today, he said Richarlison said he was feeling his groin at half time. He said he wanted to give it 10 minutes, so I let him. Don't let him. Don't let these players tell you that they're fit if they're not. And I did a video on my channel last week where it was I read out an interview that the BBC did with one of his old fitness coaches who said that Ange will quite regularly take risks on players, and it doesn't work in the Premier League because they're all they're so highly tuned that it can go wrong so quickly. Before I let you go, mate, and honestly, you've been a great guest. Let me know. Do you think Ange Postecoglou will still be manager for that Elfsborg game on Thursday? Yeah,
I think he will. I could eat my words here, but I can't see him getting sacked.
All right.
For me.
Listen, thanks for being a part of the show today. Hopefully speak to you soon, mate. Appreciate it. Cheers, mate. Okay, next up is Stephen. Stephen, thanks for coming on again, mate. Tell me your thoughts.
How are you feeling, Barnaby? As pissed off as I am, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I've riled myself up into being upset. I was pretty apathetic during the game, but I just, like I've been saying, I feel like there's a snapping point coming. I'm just not sure exactly what it's going to be. What do you think it's going to be?
Well, I mean, you said about I saw us get relegated. It was 1977 we got relegated, and we came up in 78 when we signed off with Mickey. That's cool, mate. I'm old enough to remember the bad times, and these are bad times. We are in a relegation fight, but what I will say is, money talks, bullshit walks. Levy has to go to Bournemouth tonight, offer the money they can't refuse, not just for their manager, but for Kluivert. Now, Kluivert will score the goals that will keep us up, because we are in a relegation battle. We will struggle to win on Thursday night, and we'll probably get beaten at Bournemouth. We've got no chance at Anfield. But if we get another manager in, I'm done with Ange now. I was hoping he was going to prove me wrong. He's not going to prove me wrong. He's been found out. He was successful in Mickey Mouse leagues. This is the Premier League. Premier League. Look what Iraola did you ever say? He thrashed Nottingham Forest 5-0, supposedly one of the best defences in the country. Levy And Levy's going nowhere unless he gets 5 billion. So unless fans go and protest outside his house and get arrested, which they're not going to do, if you've got any sense about him, he's not going anywhere. We've got to get another manager because this guy, I've said it for weeks now, even the most positive Tottenham fan I know, let's say Ricky Norwood, the most positive Tottenham fan out there. I think even maybe Ricky Norwood might want Ange out now tonight. I'm sorry, guys. Wake up and smell your fair trade coffee, you Ange supporters. He's taken us down. He hasn't got a clue. It's Ange Postecoglou. The 4-0 win at City, it was a one-off. It's not going to happen again. We are going to get relegated under this clown, and he has got to go, and he has got to go tonight. Please. The only thing that can happen out of this is he goes tonight. He won't walk because he won't get his money. Don't feel sorry for him. He'll get a nice little payoff. I care about our club and our players. He's ruining the careers of players with hamstring injuries. Mickey van der Ven, he's got a hamstring injury. So is a doggy because this kamikaze, ridiculous high line he plays. He's not. We don't have to go back to Mourinho and Conte defensive football. Yeah. We can have pragmatic football that's still attractive, like Areola, even the Brentford manager. But Ange, mate, please go tonight. Please go, Ange. Leave this club. Go back to Australia. Walk to Matilda back there because I want you gone tonight, mate. Out.
Okay, Stephen, I don't think we can really better that, mate. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Cheers, and speak to you after the game on Thursday.
Spurs. And
I accidentally cut in there. I thought for sure that "Come on, you Spurs" was going to be the last thing that Stephen said there. Okay, I'm afraid this is going to be my last guest. I've only got a couple of minutes left. I just want to say to Reza, who I know you're there, you were due to come on at the top, and I wasn't able to fit you in, unfortunately, because you weren't there right at the top. But I'll definitely talk to you after on Thursday. But G, one of our regulars, thank you so much for coming on the show, mate. G, from Brazil, tell me.
Hey, Barnaby.
Hello, mate.
How you doing, mate? I can tell you that, people. Anyway, I say how you doing because it's polite as well. So then, yeah, not a good game, was it? Obviously not. I think our last conversation, when I think you asked me a question about how we can do against Leicester, and I said the best we can hope for is a draw. Less than 3 days apart from our last game.
Yep.
And players falling down completely dead. I was really surprised we got 1-0 and we played the way we did in the first half, to be honest. I just didn't think it would. We didn't play a high line, nowhere near a high line, any of that. So I thought it was managed okay. But really, we don't have the staff, as we all know. You know, it's not an excuse from Ange either. He's never made that an excuse. He's made that a statement of fact. He's not made excuses. He takes it on the chin. He takes the blame for the players that are out there, the ones he's got available to make them work. So I don't know where that comes from, because someone said that. I also heard about putting Biss in the middle to protect, like in the pivot, to protect the back four. My God, Biss and I don't think that Biss, and I don't think that Sar's young still, actually, to be honest with you. I don't think either of them would get into our first 11 when we have our first 11, and definitely not when we get our players that we should be having coming in, which we're not going to get because Levy's the same old Levy by the looks of it. I gave him a bit of a chance. I thought because Ange was getting the players, some of the players, he got Solanke and he got Gray, and the players he was asking in good ones, you know, and he kept Spence. I thought things were changing. I thought, yeah, okay, we've got a hold on here, and maybe he's going to bring people in. But I'll still give him another week because it could happen. But this is what happens, you know. For the match itself, the first part of the second half, it was just like we just shot ourselves in the foot, really, giving the ball away as those players do. Again, I don't know what Ange can do about that, unless he's got some sort of tag around their neck or around their leg. Every time they give a ball away, it gives them a big electric shock or something. I don't know what else anybody could do. No manager in the world could do that. All this talk about Ange out is just pathetic, of course. It's just the way it always happens, you know. A lot of those people weren't around in the first half, funny enough. It's funny how they all appear out of nowhere. But anyway, this is down now. It's Levy's the only one who can sort this stuff out. He's the only one. Can I ask players in this game than what we did from the last game we played, and we expect to beat Leicester, who have a full squad.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question, mate? Do you think that the way that Ange Postecoglou sets up his team structurally, structurally, so we'll take out whether we think it should be Basuma or Sarr or whatever. Do you think Ange Postecoglou structurally, the way he sets up the team, is the type of structure that we need now that we are genuinely in a relegation fight and losing at home to teams who have lost 7 games?
I don't know what else he could do with the players he's got. You know what I mean? Like, people are talking about bringing academy players in and stuff like this. He can't even have a training session with these guys. He can only have he can't probably have a tactical training session with these guys. How can these players be brought in? What is he to do? How is he to do it? What is he to defend? Was he just to defend part of the bus? Because we wouldn't have got that goal if he did that. Come on, we've got to wake up here. I know we lost, and it's really distraught. It's a horrible thing to lose. We hate losing. You know what I mean? But just get a level head on this and understand. You know what I mean? I said, again, 2 weeks ago, I said the same thing again. It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Of course it is. Logically. This is nothing to do with Andrew or anything. Logically, our situation cannot.
What makes you think that if we get the players back, that they're either going to stay fit or they won't be replaced on the injury table by other players?
Who knows?
Well, based on the 18 months that Ange Postecoglou's been at the club, we know that that's not going to happen because
and the 18 months
the injuries are appalling.
You can't blame these on the injuries. It's not about his injuries. They're not his injuries. Some of these things, and some of the reasons the player's been out, nothing to do with Ange. Yeah, he has some responsibility. There's no doubt about it. Of course he does. The way we play or whatever. But this is going to happen with any team. Could happen to Liverpool. Could happen to all of them. Manchester City, they've had it. It's about our staff. And he's called out not once, not twice, probably 3 times I've known of him calling out the very people that got the sack. And this is why we've had up for the last month or 2 adverts on the Tottenham vacancy spot for the same people that are to blame for what's going on. They sent Mickey van der Ven in too soon. You know what I mean? Some of these injuries are done as they go away on international duty, by the way. Do you know what I mean? It's not all about, it's not one shoe fits all. It's not one thing that's making this whole pattern. It's, you know, there's no Dr. Clouseau here or Sherlock to work this out, you know. It's a case of just this has happened, this has happened, this has happened. They're all separate incidences. Well, there's no conspiracy theories here. You know what I mean? You're going to Barnaby, you're going to blame Ange all the time because he's the one you can. But the one you really want to deep down blame is Levy. Ever since Poch, he's the one. He's the one only. That's it. End of story. You know what I mean? And stop talking about Thomas Frank. Stop talking about taking away the Brighton manager that come and sort our mess out. They're not going to come here, man. What, would you do it if you?
No, I agree. They're not going to come here, and nor are players going to come here. So you might as well tell everybody to shut up about. Might as well tell people to shut up about trying to get players in as well. But as far as I'm concerned, Ange Postecoglou has literally come out and said in interviews, "Oh yeah, muscular injuries they come part and parcel with my type of football and my type of training," and I think that makes them look shit now, to be honest.
No, it comes part and parcel with all teams that do attacking football, all of them. Do you know what I mean? If we defended, we'd have the same at the other end. We'd have no strikers. We'd have got no strikers. We'd have no striker force. They'd all been out. Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing. You can't. I don't get where that's coming from, you know.
Right, mate. I really appreciate your positivity. I appreciate you sticking up.
It's not positivity, mate. It's just a fact. It's just being logical here. You know, if you go getting your wish, I guarantee it. If Ange is gone, I'll be back watching us in the 2nd division, as it were, because that's what happened last time. I remember.
My wish is that it works. My wish is that it works for him. My wish is that it works for him, and it works. But my fear is if he can never get his first team on the pitch, it's never going to work for him. And I'm sorry, you can say this is just bad luck, but.
Yeah, but are you going to say that about any manager? Surely, Barnaby. If you can't get your first, look at Pep up there. Look what happened to him. He's just one player missing or whatever.
Yeah, but mate, this isn't just the last few months. It happened for Pep for like 2 months. This has been 18 months since the Chelsea game. It was the same the whole second half of last season.
Barnaby, because it's happened in that time. That's why he's been calling out for players. He's been calling out. Every single, I don't know how many months he's been doing it for. You think this is something that's just happened over the last week or 2?
You got players. You got players in the summer, but they all got injured. And he had loads of players in the second half of last season who he hadn't sold yet, who all got injured. Like we could never get our first team on the park last season. We never did.
We got into Europe, mate, last season, something that we never none of us thought would happen on his first season with no striker, having to change a complete and utter squad. Come on, man.
He
Think
did well.
about this.
He
Think
did
about
well.
it all. Think about the whole thing, Barnaby. You know, I'm not having a
I'm
go,
telling
mate.
you, I want it to work for him. I want it to work for him. But, you know,
But you're not
explain
giving
away
any
Everton first half, and this second half. You think I'm not sure they're
because-
playing for him. I'm not sure they're playing for him.
Of course they're playing for him. Did you see him last time? Have you heard Maddison in the interview? You know what I mean? You're in a downer, mate, and you're making it affect your judgment call on this. You've got to look at the whole thing as neutral perspective, Barnaby. I get it.
I'm just watching them jogging. I'm watching them jogging about when we haven't got the ball for a long time.
Jogging about
and
because
especially in that Everton game.
they're physically gone. They're physically gone, and they don't know who they're playing with from week in to week out. Leicester do. All these other teams, they all know who they're playing with week in, week out, even if they're crap. But then, but would you, if he had a look, if that Leicester manager had a look at his team sheet this week, what was available, he wouldn't pick those players. He wouldn't pick them. He'd pick his players still over those, most of those players. He goes, Son, no way, you're not fit enough now. Kulu, you need a rest ages ago.
Yeah. Gee, anyway, listen, I appreciate you calling in. I've got to go because Chris has started his chat, but I appreciate it, mate. And let's hope to speak after a better result.
All right, Barnaby. Take care, mate.
See you later.
Big
Bye-bye.
luck,
Okay, guys. Thanks so much for watching today. As I said, the Spurs Chat podcast would have just started. So go to the live section on Chris's channel and head over for that. He'll be hosting it. He's hosting it with Craig Dim and Ricky Norwood and Harry Scarf. Make sure you're subscribed to Chris's channel at Chris Cowlin on YouTube. And listen, you know, it's been another tough day. I think, as somebody said, it might have been G. You know, it's going to get worse before it gets better. I think that's probably right. And I think we're probably going to lose to Elfsport, but we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Cheers.